Risky behavior.
The views and opinions expressed on this channel are solely those of the host and guest and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This channel does not promote bias, hatred, or discrimination of any kind. All questions posed and thoughts shared are part of a critical thinking exercise and are not meant to offend or judge any individual or group. We encourage respectful dialogue and love for all. Please remember to think critically and engage thoughtfully. We aim to foster a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you for being a part of Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior.
Yo, what's up? What's up? How y'all doing? Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Risky Behavior ENT. I'm your host, Mr. Diabolical himself, also known as Beware the Messenger. I wanted to come on here today and talk about the case of the Georgia woman who was declared brain dead, and they are keeping her alive so that she can still give birth to her baby. Very controversial story, especially when it comes to abortions laws. Georgia has a heartbeat law, and so the hospital is saying, well, hey, we have to keep her alive for this child because she's past the 6 weeks. You can detect the heartbeat, and so therefore we're going to keep her alive. Her family has an issue with this. They're saying that they would have not necessarily chosen to pull the plug on her. However, they would have liked the choice to decide for themselves, which is very understandable. But yeah, they're going to keep her alive so that she can deliver the child. So
30-year-old Adriana Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. They didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have caught it.
The next morning, Adriana's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. More than likely it was blood. She was taken to Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here
to Emory University Hospital, where Adriana worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them, and I said yes. And then they called me back and they said that they couldn't do it.
Doctors declared Adriana brain dead.
So I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals, and her boyfriend asked, please keep her. If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing by the ventilator, but she's not there. And I'm touching her. And she has a son who I bring to see her.
Now, 21 weeks pregnant, her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk, wheelchair bound. We don't know if he'll live once she has him.
A situation she says no one should be forced into.
It should have been left up to the family because I'm in my 50s, her dad is in his 50s, so we're going to have the responsibility with her partner to raise her sons, you know. And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice. We should have had a choice.
you and I understand that. It's so crazy, the complexities when it comes to having a child, right? And I read up on that a little bit. Sometimes the development of the baby will suffer. If that mother passes away, and I understand they might put her on the machine, but that bit of time that goes by where um the mother dies, the baby could have lost oxygen, blood flow due to the mother passing away, and even though they might put her on that machine, that little bit of time in which that mother was dead or her bodily function stopped could have affected the development of that child. And so that is something that they're worried about when it comes to that. Close that. And another thing that's surprising to me is that the young lady being a nurse, I would have thought the interactions between her and the hospital would have went better. And the boyfriend was saying that they didn't keep her at the hospital originally and really give her the attention that she needed. And I would have thought that her being a nurse, that would have went better. So it says here, April Newkirk said her 30-year-old daughter, Adriana Smith, began experiencing intense headaches in early February. Smith was 9 weeks pregnant at the time with her second child, NBC affiliate of Atlanta reported. And that's another thing. So she's pregnant, a nurse, she's at the hospital. I would just think that it would go. I would think that, you know how sometimes, like, when you go into an emergency room in a hospital, anybody that's ever went, when you're not a medical professional, sometimes you speak and they're able to kind of like shoo you away. Because I'm pretty sure some of us had those experiences where we go to the hospital, it's like, you're not taking what I'm saying seriously. I would think they would take her a little bit more seriously, being that she's a nurse. She would be more equipped with the words and the terminology to get better attention at a hospital. So it says Smith sought treatment at Northside Hospital, but was released and given medication. Newkirk told the station. Newkirk said the hospital did not run any tests or scans. That's crazy. I recently, I had earlier this year, I fell down and I hit my head, and I went to the hospital, and I had pulled something, right? I fell, right? Hit my head. I was trying to pull myself up to get up, and I did it so quickly. I pulled a muscle, and like this pain shot through the top of my freaking back, through my chest. So not only am I going to the emergency room with this headache, and I mean my head was bleeding and everything. I had this sharp pain, and so I told him, I said, "Look, I hit my head. I said, I got a sharp pain in my chest. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my heart, my ribs. I don't know what it is." And that's crazy because I don't know if anybody's had back pain before. You can get some back pain and you don't know where it's coming from. You could pull a back muscle and it feel like it's in the front. It don't feel like it's actually in your back. So I had a CT scan. They scanned my head to make sure I ain't have no fractures or anything like that. And they actually gave me a x-ray of my chest to see what it is, because they didn't know it was like lungs or anything. And so I got all that done, you know. And so it's just sad that they didn't give her a scan or anything. They just gave her medication and sent her home. Although I do understand, though, things in your brain can happen all of a sudden. My best friend in the world, his little brother passed away that way. He had just became a firefighter. He just got married. Looked like, man, he's on the right track, starting his life. One day, he's laying in bed with his new wife. They're newlyweds. He gets up in the middle of the night, and his wife says he jumps up out of bed, grabs his head. He says, "Oh no," and he just falls out. Brain aneurysm, dead. Right there, age 22. So, you know, these things can happen, you know, fairly quickly. It says Northside did not immediately respond for a request for comment on Thursday. And that's normal. They ain't going to make no comment, especially if you're going to say they dropped the ball and blame them. They're not going to step out there and make a comment because they might get sued. It says here, a day after seeking treatment, Smith's boyfriend woke up to find her gasping for air and making gargling noises, Newkirk told WXIA. It says Smith was rushed to Emory Decatur and then transferred to Emory University Hospital, where a CT scan showed multiple blood clots in her brain, the news station reported. Newkirk told the news station that her daughter was declared brain dead and has been breathing through machines for more than 90 days. And she says that it's torture for her. She said, torture for me. She said, I see my daughter breathing, but she's not there. And that is very understandable when it comes to that. So Georgia has this heartbeat law, right? And then so they say, oh, we got to keep her alive to give birth to the baby. I feel different ways about that because if I would think, I'm not sure, and I can't speak for everybody. I would think that if she was not talking about having an abortion, if she wasn't talking about maybe giving the child up for adoption, I would think most mothers would want you to save their child. Even though the mother has died, if you can save the baby because of modern medicine and technology, I would think that would be the thing you would do. You would not just say, hey, because I don't know. For me, that would be weird. You have a mother here that's passed away, but there's a child alive inside of her. What do? You just unplug her and send her down to the morgue and harvest her organs and snatch the baby out? I don't know. I think it's a hard decision either way. I wouldn't want to be on anybody's board voting on this. I think it's hard. And I get the family, and I think the family's coming off the wrong way, but what they're saying is legitimate because she was having a child. That does not mean that they were necessarily in the position to say, well, hey, now we can take care of a child because she's passed away, or y'all can make a decision without us and rack up a hospital bill and just do all these things and throw it on us as a family and not give us any opportunity to talk about it and come up with any type of solutions, resolutions, resources, or anything and stuff. So I do get that. It does seem a bit unfair when it comes to the family. I'll remove that. I wanted to see pregnant woman. Right. Pregnant woman. All right. Hold on. I'm trying to share my dang on screen. There we go. Share screen. Make sure audio. Boom, boom, boom. All right. I hope I ain't doing the same video. I can skip it.
9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something.
All right, we already watched that one.
Tonight, a Metro Atlanta mother lies brain dead in a hospital room, being kept alive only because she's pregnant.
So her case is now raising a lot of new questions about Georgia's controversial heartbeat law. Adriana Smith's family says they've been forced to wait without a voice while doctors try to keep her body functioning long enough to deliver her baby.
11 Alive's Cody Alcorn is live outside of Emory Midtown, where Adriana was just moved hours ago. Cody, what have you learned about what's going on here?
Well, Jennifer and Ron, Adriana has been on a ventilator for the past 90 days. Now, as you mentioned, she was moved here just hours ago, so doctors can deliver her baby when it is time. Her family visits her every day, including her young son, who believes his mom is just sleeping. A crushing, emotional toll, as you can imagine. The family says it's been made worse because they have no say on what happens next. 30-year-old Adriana Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have caught it.
The next morning, Adriana's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. More than likely, it was blood. She was taken to Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here.
To Emory University Hospital, where Adriana worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them, and I said yes. And then they called me back and they said that they couldn't do it.
Doctors declared Adriana brain dead.
So I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals, and her boyfriend asked, please keep her. If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing by the ventilator, but she's not there. And I'm touching her. And she has a son who I bring to see her.
Now, 21 weeks pregnant, her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk, wheelchair bound. We don't know if he'll live once she has him.
A situation she says no one should be forced into.
It should have been left up to the family because I'm in my 50s, her dad is in his 50s, so we're going to have the responsibility with her partner to raise her sons, you know? And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice. We should have had a choice.
It's likely doctors will not induce Adriana for at least another month. And it's not just the baby's health the family is worried about, also a medical bill. They say that continues to grow every day.
All right, Cody, thank you so much. We know you'll
New developments right now in the case.
I wonder, like, do you think the family should have a choice in that? Because, like I said, unless the daughter was saying that she planned on having an abortion or giving the child away, I mean, should it be your choice, or should the law be able to step in and say, no, the baby shall live? You don't get to decide that this child doesn't get to live simply because their mother passed away, just because of the location of said child at the moment, which just so happens to be in her body. And also it does bring the idea, when it comes to a lot of these abortion laws, do they offer any consideration for moments like this? If a mother should go brain dead, does it offer any consideration for when someone is essayed or, raped, right? I don't know. Some of these laws end up being very rigid, but the only thing I can compare this to is they do something similar. Because I watch a lot of true crime, unbelievable true crime, to the point people think I'm crazy. They're like, how can you listen to all these horrible stories, right? But I've seen where they had a young lady, she was pregnant, and what was it, her ex-boyfriend stabbed her to kill her, and the doctors actually opened her up and was able to get the baby out, and the baby lived. She was far enough along where they could go in there surgically and remove the baby and actually save the baby's life, even though the mother was stabbed and killed. They said, oh my goodness, when they got there to her quick enough, she had been stabbed and killed. They said, oh, she's pregnant, hurried up, rushed her to the hospital, and was able to get that baby out. And I've seen that happen before. That's the only thing I could compare this to is, hey, the mother died, but yo, what up? Yo, I think that's my boy. Is that T? I think that's T, man. What's up? Or is that Smoke? I think it's T. Yo, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, you caught me online. All right, let's see. New developments.
Of a pregnant woman being kept alive on life support. 11 Alive first told you about Adriana Smith last week.
Yeah, T, I knew it was you, man. Yeah. I was like, it's either T or Smoke, man, bro. What's up? You caught me online. I'm doing this. I was like, let me do this story real quick. Because I like to wait till I get a lot more evidence before I do a story. I hate when there's only one or two articles. I was like, I gotta wait till there's a couple more articles so I can get my full opinion.
She went to the hospital 8 weeks into her pregnancy, complaining of a headache, and just hours later, doctors declared her brain dead. It's a story that's making headlines all around the globe, sparking debates over Georgia's heartbeat law.
Tonight, our Cody Alcorn spoke exclusively with Smith's mother again about the emotional toll of this pregnancy, and she says the state left them no choice but to continue. He's live now from Emory University Hospital in Midtown. Cody, we know this is a situation that has really been taxing for this family.
It really has, Jennifer and Ron. Adriana was moved here to Emory Midtown on Tuesday. She's expected to remain on life support through August when doctors plan to deliver her baby by C-section. 30-year-old Adriana Smith is 22 weeks pregnant.
But she's not there. She's not there. But the baby's there.
April Newkirk says her daughter was declared brain dead on February 19th. Adriana was 8 weeks pregnant.
We wanted to know if she was to abort, would she have a chance at her life? And they said there was no chance or no hope.
In Georgia, the state's heartbeat law bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected.
So at that point, we continued with the pregnancy that we didn't have a choice or a say about. And I just want to be clear on something. We want her to have her baby. We want her life to continue throughout her children. But at the same time, to see her lay there like that, for that length of time, the grieving process for us, it can't even start because every time we go, we grieve and we hurt. And it's just unreal. It's unreal for anyone to go through this.
April says they named her daughter's baby Chance.
I'm still a little confused on that. Why would she think if this lady has brain problems, what would aborting the baby was being pregnant causing her brain problems? I don't understand that. And I a little bit of my opinion says is that I don't think anybody has. I don't think the hospital is doing anything. I think the hospital is going forth, keeping alive a life that the mom had every intention of bringing into this world. I don't think you should have the right to come in and say, well, she's dead. The kid got to be dead. I don't think anybody should be able to walk in the room and say that.
Because to me, he's getting a second chance.
Despite his mom's condition,
the baby is the right weight, a little bit over, which is a good sign. He has his legs, his toes, his limbs. Heartbeat is good and strong. It's just maybe because of the loss of consciousness with my daughter, the lack of oxygen that the baby didn't get. So that's where the cerebellum comes into place.
Baby Chance's future is still uncertain.
So the journey is for baby Chance to survive. And whatever condition God allows him to come here in, we're going to love him just the same. And we're going to embrace him.
Yeah. What's up? Shout out to Abra says, OMG, the blood of Jesus Christ, something ain't right. And her mom, whoever that lady is speaking, has so much wickedness and demonic spirits on her. She probably sacrificed her. You don't know. I know it's coming off bad. I want to say it's the grieving process. This is the mom. She's lost her daughter. Her mind ain't right. I think the last place she should be is in front of a camera. And I don't know. I would hate to be a child and be able to look back and see my grandmama like, damn, my mama died, and y'all want. It seems like y'all wanted me up out of here. Because yes, your daughter died, but there's still life there. There's still a baby there. And I think everybody does it differently. I've seen other stories like this, and I've seen other grandparents like, hey, she died, my son died, but at least we got our grandbaby. They're still here on earth through them, So yeah, this is crazy. Oh, my boy Prince of Petty is here. What's up, bro?
Man, what's up? What it do, man? I'm late.
Hey,
What I missed? What we talking about? What I missed?
oh, Georgia mom brain dead but pregnant. So Georgia heartbeat law, they're keeping her alive to have the baby.
So I guess
Yeah.
that wouldn't count as an abortion, I suppose.
Well, it's
Yeah, it's tough without.
yeah. Oh, real quick. Aber says, wow, OMG, where's the father of that baby? OMG, like this is disturbing. What happened? Well, she was living with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was the one who went with her to the hospital and saying, like, hey, they did not keep her, there, do any scans of her brain or anything like that at the hospital. So he's there. So I think the mom speaking on this is very confusing. I would think the father of the child, the boyfriend who she was living with, I would assume he would want his child. I don't know, but he's not married to her, and so therefore technically he wouldn't have a voice anyway, which is one of the important things of being married before you get pregnant, and that way you can step in there and make these decisions and speak. So it seems like they would, most time you see when there's a boyfriend, they bypass him and go straight to the mama. But yeah, but no, it's they had a bill before where they were doing abortions, Prince, and they were trying to say, hey, look, y'all, abortion is legal, but there are cases where babies survive abortions, and they
Oh
voted against
snap!
it. So they said, hey, look, we're just saying if a baby survives abortion, you should give aid to that child. It's like, and they vote against it. So you have situations people don't think about it. They pull the baby out, the baby is alive, and they just watch it die.
That's crazy because even in a lot of police shootings, for the most part, you get aid. You survive and go to court and get that life sentence.
Yeah.
I never heard that before. That's wild right there.
Yeah.
That's basically murder. I mean, if you really want to look at it.
Yeah. Abra says so she just fell out and got sick all of a sudden.
That was
I
my
don't think
next question. How did she get to be brain dead? That was my next question.
she complained of having headaches and and bleeding. It seems like what they're describing is kind of like a blood clot brain aneurysm or something like that. I was saying my best friend, his little brother, he had just got married, became a firefighter and everything. One day he's laying in bed one day. His wife says he jumped out of bed, grabbed his head and said, oh no, and just fell out. He had a brain aneurysm.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I don't think they know truly where it came from. They haven't described it in these articles.
Right.
And when she went originally with her boyfriend, they didn't keep her. They sent her home with medication, didn't keep her, didn't scan her or anything. After that, he says at the house, she started like shaking or gargling and making these noises and stuff. So he rushed her, took her back to the hospital. They were trying to see what to do. It was just too late. They didn't catch it in time.
Did they rule out a brain tumor?
Let me see. Right here says pregnant woman declared brain dead, kept alive on ventilators. Let me see. She was 9 weeks at the time. Second child. It says Adriana Smith began experiencing intense headaches in early February. Smith sought treatment at Northside Hospital, but was released and given medication. Her mother says the hospital did not run any tests or scans. She went to Northside. It says a day after seeking treatment, Smith's boyfriend woke up to find her gasping for air and making gargling noises. Newkirk told WXIA. Newkirk is the mom. Smith was rushed to Emory Decatur and then transferred to Emory University Hospital, where a CT scan showed multiple blood clots in her brain. The news station reported. Yeah, multiple. It says Newkirk told the news station that her daughter was declared brain dead and has been breathing through machines for more than 90 days. Yeah.
Damn, man.
Yep.
Bro, if that's not a lesson to have people, bro, enjoy y'all life while y'all here, bro. Clearly, you can go at any given moment. That's wild.
And what I was saying too is I was talking about the considerations or like with this law, sometimes I think it seems a little bit rigid, and maybe this is why they want to blow this up. I don't think they really care about this situation. I think they're using it to try to change some of these laws so they're not so rigid. It says Republican Governor Brian Kemp signed the state's near total abortion ban, known as the Life Act, in 2019, but it didn't take effect until 2022 after it faced a legal challenge and the U.S. Supreme Court reversed Roe v. Wade. Under the law, abortions are illegal after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Exceptions include some situations to protect the woman's life and health when fetal anomalies are detected, and in cases of rape and incest that have been documented with police. And yeah. But here the thing is, the anomalies with the pregnancy now are only because she went brain dead.
Right.
So I don't think it counts. It's like the mother dies and okay, well, at least we try to save the baby. I've seen situations where, because I was saying with true crime, I've seen a woman get like stabbed and killed, and they hurried up and rushed to the hospital and was able to pull her baby from her stomach and save it.
Well, that's what they should do. I mean, because I understand the ban on abortions, and they got the caveat in there to try to save the woman's life. But what about the child at that point? Because if she's like I said, I'm just coming in, but like if she's brain dead, saving the child or keeping her on whatever type of life support she needs to be on to make sure that child survives, that shouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah, and I think it's a tough situation to be in. Aber says they can say it was too late, and they haven't been no CT scans, no X-rays, no MRIs. Somebody needs to be held responsible for what happened to the mother. Yeah, I think that's what the mom is trying to push to. They might be able to sue the hospital or probably actually get out of that high ass.
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that they could sue the hospital, or with her being the mom, she could get her attorney to subpoena her daughter's medical records and find out whether or not a CT scan was done. So I mean, them doing it and saying they did. I mean, them not doing it but saying they did, or even if they did it and lied, it's gonna count against them in every way, form, or fashion.
Yeah, but and that's the thing though, is I was saying before, is like but what the mom and them are arguing with the abortion laws, what are you supposed to do? The mom dies, what do they do? Send her down to the morgue, harvest her organs, pull this alive baby out, and just what? Throw it away?
Cremate the baby right along with her behind. I mean, I mean, not trying to be funny, but that's the only thing I can see them doing.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. I'm like, is that what we want them to do? I don't think we do. That
I
sounds
mean,
kind of
hell to the no. I mean, no, that shouldn't be a thing. But with with the people we have in charge now, bro, passing the laws that they passing, and they got to go back and edit for certain caveats, like they make the laws and they don't take in consideration of the multitude of things that can actually happen. That's the
exactly.
primary problem.
And they seem unwilling to adjust when they pop up. You know, it shouldn't be that hard to kind of rewrite and add things in as we experience them. And that way we can have laws that are actually fair and account for these things. They just go, well, no, that's the law. We ain't gonna change it. We ain't gonna fix it. We ain't gonna amend it. Nothing. Because I can understand.
No,
Maybe
I agree.
I guess they don't do enough research when they writing laws.
Clearly they don't. Because I was on the fence about the banning of abortions until they came out, with the different caveats and stuff. Because I was like, well, you can ban abortions, that's one thing, but what about X, Y, and Z? The great babies, and not everybody want to walk around, after being sodomized or whatever the case, and they got this child in them. Everybody don't want that. What about if the woman's life in danger of the of carrying the child, atopic pregnancy or something like that? Man, these things got to be like, y'all got to think about this stuff. I was on board until they didn't want to go back and make them caveats. I was like, I can't rock with y'all on this one, bro.
Nah, I agree. And I can understand why they don't support, because I guess they say, well, even though it was this, I don't know. Are there any psychology behind it, right? Because I can get what they're saying, like, well, even though the woman was assaulted, the baby didn't do anything wrong, so don't kill it, right? That's their argument that I hear constantly, right? But how does that affect the psychology of a baby with the mom to be forced to walk around like that? Or even this situation, this child is going to know that they grew inside of a dead person. It's kind of eerie, right?
It is kind of eerie, but unfortunately, like you said, that's them not taking, that's them not taking the proper precautions for the different scenarios that can take place during the pregnancy
Yeah.
or prior to conception. They don't look at those things, for lack of better phrasing, they don't care. They just want to pass a little stupid law.
That's mama here. Let me see.
Adriana does have a 7-year-old son. His name is Chase, and he has no idea what is happening. He still thinks his mom is just asleep. Now, as you mentioned, this whole case has sparked a conversation. It has sparked debate about the gray areas of the state's heartbeat law. And as reported last week, when I first sat down with April, she believes the heartbeat law needs to be re-examined and changed.
Cody, certainly
Yes, it do.
A pregnant mother unfortunately suffers a traumatic brain injury, now brain dead and pregnant. What is happening with mom and baby from a medical perspective?
So if her organs are functioning and her blood is flowing, and if she's on a ventilator, her lungs are getting oxygen, that baby can continue to grow. There have been about 100 cases of pregnant women who are labeled brain dead who then go on to deliver a child. So it is not unheard of. It is very, very rare. But if all her other organ systems are functioning and they are able to provide nutrition, possibly through IV or maybe tube feeds into the stomach, that baby can grow.
What about the timing? So in this case, the mother was 9 weeks pregnant when she unfortunately suffered this medical emergency. 9 weeks is pretty early in a pregnancy. What about the timing?
Yeah, so 9 weeks is very early. There's obviously months to go to get this baby to where it could survive outside its mother's body. In most of the past cases where this has happened, the mom has been on life support until the baby's been delivered, usually between 6 and 12 weeks. But there are cases where it has been for longer. But obviously, the earlier this happens, the more could go wrong for the mom and the baby in that time till delivery.
And so what are doctors looking for right now as they're caring for this baby because mom, unfortunately, is brain dead. So as they're caring for this baby, what are they looking for?
So they're going to look for the same things we would look for a mom who was not on life support. We would look at the growth of the pregnancy. We would look at the amount of fluid around the baby. You would look at possibly chromosomes of the baby. And those kind of tests are going to tell you how healthy the child is and are there any birth defects that are evident, in utero.
What is the earliest time frame that you would deliver this baby?
So the earliest a child can live outside the womb is going to be about 24 weeks, but those babies often need a lot of support. So we hope to get as far along as possible. The further along you get, the less risk of prematurity there is. And premature babies have their own risks, lung problems, sometimes brain bleeds, sometimes intestinal issues. So the further along you can get the child, the better. But the minimum would be 24 weeks, but I would hope they could get, even more than that.
This is such a layered concern coming from so many angles. So as a mom, as a physician, there's ethics, there's feelings. Just talk about all what's going on here.
There are so many issues here. It's not just medicine. It's not just the legal issues. There are ethical concerns. There are obviously social issues, like who's going to raise this child? One ethical question becomes if this mom is absolutely not going to wake up, then you're essentially delivering a child into orphandom, right? You're delivering an orphan. So there's issues about that. Who's going to be responsible and raise this child? And there's so many concerns here, so many things that, need to be addressed.
And so when you look at it from that perspective, because this is so rare.
It is very rare, but most of the babies that have been delivered to brain dead or life support system mothers have been viable and healthy.
Based on timing of the delivery.
Yeah,
based on the timing. Anything else you want to add? I know you kind of did your own research. Like, what else did we find just about this? I just think the discourse online is so interesting as far as, just how people are feeling about it, because it's not something that we hear often. So it's just so interesting to hear it from a medical perspective, just like what's going on with mom, what's going on with baby. A lot of people don't understand that this is the thing.
Yeah. And it is rare, but it does happen. I had told you about when I was an intern, I saw a case of a mother who suffered a gunshot to the head and was about 26 weeks pregnant. And, I watched this whole thing play out for their family. They kept her on life support. She was declared brain dead until they could get the baby a few weeks down the road to where it was more likely to be delivered without any complications. So this does happen. I think one thing that I read about that was interesting to me is even though young women don't typically think about this, you may want to talk about or have a living will, because there was one case where the mother had a living will where she said she did not want to be kept alive by machines. Her husband knew that, but the law in the state she was in, they were required to keep her alive because of the pregnancy. So in that case, you went against the mother's wishes. But because there's another life here, that life now has its, rights and legalities to consider. So it's a very complex, very layered problem. But I do think one thing women can do to protect themselves is have a living will or let somebody close to you know your wishes, because that may help you, stand up for yourself, even if you can't vocalize it.
Thank you so much. And we continue to follow a story that so many of you are interested.
Whoa.
Man, I'm kind of troubled by that interview right there, bro.
Avery said, I'm sick of them. This is wild. Is it even real? They're talking about everything but what got the mother there and what are the test results which caused her to be brain dead. I don't think they care. I kind of think this young lady has become a guinea pig for their law and how they're going to exercise it, to be honest with you. That's what this all seems like. She seems like a guinea pig.
Yeah, she seems like a guinea pig. What I was gonna say was I hate the media, because when I came in, did you not say that was the mother, that was the grandmother being interviewed?
The mother of the girl that is brain dead and the grandma.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, the grandma. And also, did you not say that the boyfriend or the presumed child's father was at the hospital with her?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So why are these people saying that this child is going to be born into she said the damn word. Well, somebody's there to take care of the damn kid. She's asked the question, who's going to take care of the kid? There's two people right there. Who been there's two people right there. The grandmother and the father, presumed, alleged. It's not a question of who's going to take care of the kid. The kid's going to be taken care of.
And the, I don't want to go down. I don't want to say it, but maybe he's not the father of the child, but she was just pregnant living with him. You know that can
And he might,
happen.
well, that happens. He might not be the father, and she might just be living with him, but still got a grandma sitting right there. She was interviewed on national television. She's right there.
Yeah, but she's kind of complaining about it.
I mean, one can complain about the situation, absolutely, but at the end of the day, it's still your grandbaby. I mean, I don't think. I mean, should the baby survive after all of this, I don't think CPS or that state's government should deny the grandmother custody of that child.
Yeah, I don't think they would, but I here's my thing. I don't, because I feel what you're saying. I'm like, I don't. So are we saying that you should be kept alive based on convenience? It
Absolutely not.
doesn't matter if that child has parents or not. If the parents died, what do you kill them? I don't even know why that would be taken into account. If you say, hey, we're going to give whatever has a heartbeat rights, that's the end of the discussion. To me, parents pass away all the time. It doesn't have to be this woman's situation, car accident. It happens anyway. And so that's the part that bothers me. Like when they're talking about this, they're adding things that can happen anyway. She could have had a healthy birth and then died later on after having a child 5 years later or something like that. When the
And what they
child
gonna,
is
and what they gonna come back and kill the kid after the kid born? Because the
exactly,
kid parent died. So
exactly,
yeah, so yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying, but that kind of furthers my point. Like, y'all, I mean, you have the means to hopefully keep this woman alive, if not temporary, and in turn keep the child alive. So according to y'all laws, why not just do that? And when the
yeah,
child is born, the child isn't necessarily an orphan because the child has a grandmother. The child has a father, allegedly,
yeah.
presumably.
What the hospital is going to do? The hospital is like, look, the law. We ain't got nothing to do with this. We're not going to allow you to say pull the plug or anything, and you ain't got a damn choice. So the hospital, is sticking to it, and I agree with that situation.
Yeah.
I agree with what they're doing. They don't. First of all, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
I've
And I
seen
think
nurses go to
Abra
jail
said
holding
this.
up laws.
And I think Abra said that would be murder, right? If the mother dies, but the child is alive, I'm not gonna kill it. I'm gonna save
Yeah,
it because you're in the
exactly.
hospital.
You're in the hospital. That's literally your job. And if you don't do that, yeah, that's freaking murder. Yeah, absolutely. You have the means to save the child with the mother dying, save the child.
Yeah, because what if the family says pull the plug, but I know it's a baby in there living? Like, no, I'm
No,
not.
no, hell no. Trying to get my
Like,
damn hospital sued. You trying to get me
yeah.
sued? No.
You talk about getting shut down? Like,
Yeah, shut
no.
clean down, man. No, I'm not doing that.
I'm not. I ain't doing it. I don't even know. I'm trying to remember. Did she go back? Did she even go back to the same hospital? Because they saying she So they said she went to North Side. North Side is where they say dropped the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
They said she went to North Side Hospital, but then they said she was rushed to Emory, Decatur. I know where that's at. I don't think that's the same place. So I don't even know if they would even pay attention to that. If she went to somebody who she went to,
Yeah, if that's not the same place. Some hospitals, not all, but some hospitals don't share records. Some hospitals don't share information like that. So they would have to. That new hospital would have to do their own set of tests to find out the issue. Otherwise, it'll be the same situation from the previous hospital that she went to, where they just sent her home.
yeah. What's up, Jenny? Jenny says hi. Hi, hello to you.
What
This
up?
child won't survive outside the womb without modern RX. So I guess you meant to put or extended care.
How far
Uh,
along is she? I didn't ask that question. How far along is she?
she was early February. They said 9 weeks. She's got to be around 20 something weeks now, right?
Yeah, they might have to pull the plug. I don't think they can say that, baby.
Well, no, in the update, they said that the child has some better development than what they originally thought. I think
Okay,
I
so we
think
got a
now
fighter.
I think now that, and the expert just in the interview we just watched, the expert said that a lot of them do come out and they're fine. She says just timing. How long are you able to keep this woman on life support and allow that child to develop? And if you, like, for instance, a person could be brain dead, right? And you're keeping them alive, but they can have other functions in their body that are still failing, just like you could be living and your liver is messed up or your kidney is messed up or your lungs are messed up, right? So just because they're keeping you alive don't mean all your function, but that's why she said it's a whole lot of things. So they're keeping you alive, but your blood is flowing correctly, your lungs and all that, the baby's getting the oxygen in the blood and stuff. So provided that the rest of her body is functioning okay, then the baby could develop fine.
Oh, well,
But
you put it that way, but it might survive then. You put it like that.
that's like with anything else. You can have a woman alive without a breathing machine, but something else is wrong and it affects the development of the baby.
Yeah, tell me about it. I lost two.
So that's what it's saying, And I'm sorry to hear that, man. I think it's all a toss up.
Right.
It's all a toss up. It's never no guarantees of any of that. If I put it to you this, following logic, if you would say that just pull the plug, let this child pass away, then we should also make laws that say that other people with medical issues should not even attempt pregnancy because it's all a chance.
I like that comparison.
This brain dead mom, this potentially, right? But you have other people that know they got health issues that still try to have kids, high risk and everything, and they still make the attempt because for a lot of people, that potential of life is more important than any doubt or any fear.
Right.
And so they still attempt it. The same way people with dwarfism, they still attempt to have kids and they go through whatever they got to go through to see if, hey, is a child going to carry this gene? And they still do it. Even though they
Kids
know
come
that
out
their
bigger than
life,
them.
yeah. So if you stop this, then you got to stop a lot of other things. So that's a slippery slope to go down. Because somebody might deem you unfit to be pregnant or to, procreate. So that's the thing.
All right, I feel that.
But I also get people's point, they say by default, though, then that is abortion laws, right? You're controlling procreation or people's choice. So I think it's all messed up.
Well, I hope they're able to keep her alive and they actually able to save the baby. Personally, I mean, I don't want to see no infant lose his or her life. So if they able to pull that off, man, that's gonna be a feat.
I think the child will probably be okay. Hopefully they do a update and stuff. I you know, the mom is saying things I don't agree with, but she's mourning. And I don't know what that would be like for a parent to lose a child. So
Right.
she might feel better seeing the child and get over that, you know. I'm pretty sure they're under a lot of stress. And you know, she had another kid, they're taking care of that kid, and it sounds messed up what she's saying, but I do understand what she's saying. It sounds messed up. You know, you say something, you like, I know this is gonna sound effed up, but damn it, I gotta say it. You're like, damn it, I gotta say it.
That's everything. That's about every day with us.
Yeah. I'm trying to see, do this
Interested in
article
as it
saying the same
continues to
thing
get
here.
nationwide attention. The story of Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old nurse and mother who is on life support at Emory Hospital.
That's right. So doctors discovered blood clots in her brain back in February. And her family says that even though doctors have said she's brain dead, the hospital told them under Georgia law, it must keep her on life support because she's pregnant. Well, now as Adriana's pregnancy progresses, her family is facing questions like, who's responsible for the growing medical bills? What are the family's legal rights? And what happens when the law states in to make these painful decisions?
So at that point, we continue with the pregnancy that we didn't have a choice or a say about. And I just want to be clear on something. We want her to have her baby.
I know that's not the smoke detector
to
beeping.
continue throughout her children. But at the same time, to see her lady like that.
You said her smoke detector beeping?
Yeah, in the middle of
How
a
you
damn
hear
news
stuff like
interview.
that? Let me
You
see.
hear stuff like that because you're not insane.
Hold on, here we go.
It's loud as rewind to the beginning of the interview when she first started talking. That's like a loud as come.
When the
I
law
can't believe you
states
didn't hear
in
that.
to make these painful decisions.
So at that point, we continue with the pregnancy that we didn't have a choice or a say about. And I just want to be clear on
Man, I ain't shit.
Oh man.
Black people within earshot.
Looks
When
like
you got
family
the
doesn't have
news
any work.
coming to your house, change your damn smoke detector. There's no reason for that to be on national television. No way.
What's up, Catherine? Catherine said, I'm laughing now.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make light of such a dark situation. I'm sorry, but man, black people, bro, come on now. Ain't no way that thing should be beeping on the news. No way.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. I just didn't. You know what? I could be desensitized to it.
You might be. You might be. Say, bro, I tell everybody, bro, that beep drives me nuts. The
You know
moment
what?
I hear that, the moment I hear it in my house, I gotta find which one it is. I have to. I have to stop whatever I'm doing and find. It drives me insane.
She's desensitized to it too because she didn't even like skip a beat or like
She ain't skip.
pause.
She ain't flinch.
Yeah, you know, because you would maybe feel that embarrassment, like, oh my goodness, my smoke detector beeping. Or you would think about that before the interview, like, hey, the news is coming. I ain't gonna have my smoke detector beeping with these people up in my house. You know what? She might not need to watch the baby if you ain't got working smoke detectors.
You
in
ain't got
your
a
house.
working smoke detector. It might be best that baby go to a damn orphanage. Cause clearly, if your house burned down, you won't know.
Catherine says, I was angry. Now I feel better. I'm glad we can do that for you. Also, I want to tell everybody, if ever they try to sell you, I tell people this because they don't think about it, or some people don't know still, but I'm pretty sure most people might know. But if they try to sell you smoke detector and carbon monoxide like a all-in-one, do not buy that. Smoke detectors go up high. The carbon detector, they go down low on the ground. Smoke rises, carbon monoxide sits on the floor.
Yes.
It is low.
Yes.
So you can't have a high-low device
You
in
can't.
one. They make them, but I don't know who told them to make it. I remember 80 who was selling Verizon Xfinity.
Uh-huh.
They were selling them. And that's the thing. Some of these companies, they do things and they're in a certain business, but they really have no expert advice in it. It was ADT that told me. I said, hey, y'all ain't got the one-in-one device. And he's like, sir, that ain't why. That's dumb, sir. I said, why you say that? I said, Xfinity was selling them. ADT was like, no, it got to be two different devices. And you got to get them changed out every year. You got to get them changed out. So you got to buy new ones. You can't have that same carbon dioxide thing in there for the past 5 years. No. I just share that with people because some people buy them, don't know. I would think they would make it illegal to even sell that. Let me see. I'm gonna be paying. I'm gonna see if I can hear it again. Hold on.
Something. We want her to have her baby. We want her life to continue throughout her children. But at the same time, to see her lay there like that, for that length of time, the grieving process for us, it can't even start.
Tonight, 11 Alive's Aisha Howard takes a closer look, speaking to 3 experts about the legal, health, and financial challenges this case is raising and what it means for families across Georgia.
There's a lot to unpack here. Emory declined to comment on specifics of the case, but released a statement saying it uses consensus from clinical experts, medical literature, and legal guidance to support our providers as they make individualized treatment recommendations in compliance with Georgia's abortion laws and all other applicable laws. Its top priorities continue to be the safety and well-being of the patients we serve. But a spokesperson of the Georgia's Attorney General's office seems to contradict that, saying in a statement, there is nothing in the Life Act that requires medical professionals to keep a woman on life support after brain death. Removing life support is not an action with the purpose to terminate a pregnancy. So I turned to Georgia State University health law professor Allison Whelan to ask how there could be different legal views on this.
Part of the
That's confusing to me because they had a woman that I think took a drug or something and she had a miscarriage and they wanted to charge her. How did they prove that her act of taking this drug was her in trying to induce, and which a miscarriage is under the definition is considered a abortion, right? So yeah, if you know it's a baby in there, you know pulling the plug is gonna kill the baby. Of course it would.
The issue we have going on here is also the fear and the chilling effect that is going on for medical professionals. So because of the vagueness of the law, the concern is that because they didn't have this interpretation from the Attorney General at the time they had to make the decision.
Adriana's family says doctors plan to keep her on life support until early August. That's when they hope to deliver her baby via C-section. I asked OBGYN Dr. Sujatha Reddy, who is not associated with this case, if this situation may affect the baby's health.
So if her organs are functioning and her blood is flowing, and if she's on a ventilator, her lungs are getting oxygen, that baby can continue to grow. There have been about 100 cases of pregnant women who are labeled brain dead who then go on to deliver a child. So it is not unheard of. It is very, very rare. But if all her other organ systems are functioning and they're able to provide nutrition, possibly through IV or maybe tube feeds into the stomach, that baby can grow.
Another question that's come up, Who's responsible for the medical bills? We took that question to probate attorney Brian Douglas, who also is not associated with the case.
You do not need no attorney. I'm gonna tell you who take care of it. The hospital.
Sure do. Ding, ding, ding.
Cause get
That
what?
shouldn't even be a conversation.
Last time I checked, the grandmama didn't check into the hospital.
Yep.
uh,
And she
uh.
and she's brain dead. Most likely, once they pull their plug, she's deceased. So y'all about to front that, baby. It's not like the hospital gonna shut down because one person who's brain dead on the ventilator and XYZ can't pay their bill. Come on, stop it. It shouldn't even be a conversation.
Yeah, that's dumb. So I go in the hospital, I check out, right? You think they transfer that to my mom, my wife, my mom? No. It's on the insurance thing. I checked in. That ain't on me. And she's not married. Now with the insurance, I guess if you and your partner are on the same insurance, maybe that could affect someone, but no, they gonna eat the cost. I'm still alive and ain't paid some them hospital bills.
What? I got hospital bills.
They come to your room and be like, hey, how did you want to take care of it? You know what you do? You know what? I'm gonna I don't have my stuff on me right now. I will meet you at the desk. You ever notice nobody's ever at that desk? We all tell the same lie. I ain't going to that desk.
Even here in New Orleans, bro, nobody's ever at that doggone checkout desk. Ever.
Yeah, I just walk out. What they gonna do? Nothing. They'll send it to your house, open it. Oh, never mind. Shred it. Boom. They'll send you another one. Shred it. Boom. After a while, guess what they do? They just stop.
They stop sending them. They stop sending it.
And guess what? Here's another thing that's funny. You should most definitely ignore your hospital bill. I remember I racked up the thousands. Man, they called back like, hey, we could settle this with 3 easy payments of $150. I said, I'll take it. That's it. That's it. They're gonna call with a very low amount, man. That's it. And I only paid 2 of those, and they just cleared it out, man. They're not gonna do anything. You do not have to worry about that bill. Nobody pays them.
And then from my recollection, I'm just going off from what I'm told by older individuals than myself. Medical bills don't even count against you on credit.
I ain't never seen them.
Yeah.
I ain't never seen hospital medical bills on credit. And you'll see that when you go to refinance a home and stuff like that, which I've done a couple of times, or just buying a home, which I've done a couple of times, like it do not pop up at all.
Right.
Maybe that's state to state, but I don't know. I have never seen it. And I know
might.
that. Oh man, happy Father's Day too. I just got a text.
Oh, same, man. Same. I'm so
See
used to
how
that just
Father's
being a
Day is,
regular day.
We forget.
I was just saying, I'm so used to it just being a regular day out the year. I was like, no, oh yeah, Father's Day coming up. All right.
Yeah, man. That who gonna pay the hospital? The hospital gonna pay it.
For them to even have this man up here talking about that is that is embarrassing. They gotta be one of those like privately owned hospital. Like that can't be auctioned or nothing like that. Like that gotta be a privately owned hospital. Cause ain't no way.
What they gonna do? Hold the baby hostage?
If that's a privately owned hospital, it probably would. I wouldn't put it past them.
Man, I ain't gonna pay it. I don't know who gonna pay it. It ain't gonna be me. First of all, you said it's y'all decision and not mine, so I know I ain't gonna pay it.
Right, exactly. Yep, y'all gonna figure it out. We'll be okay. Life goes on.
I'm sure he gonna say something weird, but
yeah, he about to.
Let's see.
Unless someone else signs to be financially responsible, that you can't attach to them. Same with a credit card, right?
Okay, cool.
It transcends all things, debt related, unless you agree to be responsible for that debt as a responsible party. And the family's not responsible for that.
We'll be watching closely to see how this case progresses. In the meantime, Adriana's family says they've named her unborn son Chance because through him, they feel like she's getting a second chance. For a closer look, I'm Aisha Howard.
And you can watch our in-depth interview.
Democracy depends on if
That boy
I
said,
got
unless somebody sign over the pay. Anybody signing for that?
They gonna bring the paperwork in the room. I'm like, what's that? What's that? Oh, enough to show. We just need you to say, hey, I'm like, nah, I ain't signing nothing.
That's wild.
I'm just here for support. I ain't signing nothing in this damn room, man. Get out of here.
The daddy gonna take the baby leave. The mama gonna sign her paperwork for the deceased, and no, we're not signing for no bill. No, you keep that one. You can take that out the pamphlet. No.
They insane. You see, Georgia ban. They probably gonna say I have so many
free
articles
press. Please
because sometimes they say something different.
support our independent journalism at democracynow.org/give. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. We turn now to Georgia, where there's growing concern about the plight of a pregnant woman who's been declared brain dead but has been kept on life support for 3 months against the wishes of her distraught family because of Georgia's abortion ban. Adriana Smith is a 30-year-old mother and nurse who suffered a medical emergency in February due to blood clots in the brain, was declared legally dead. At that point, she was about 9 weeks pregnant. She's now about 22 weeks pregnant, but doctors have kept her on breathing machines because her fetus was old enough to have detectable cardiac activity. Georgia's heartbeat law bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected. This comes as Georgia's Attorney General said Georgia's heartbeat bill does not require medical professionals to keep a woman on life support after brain death, and issued a terse statement that, quote, removing life support is not an action with the purpose to terminate a pregnancy. Georgia's maternal and infant mortality rates are among the worst in the country, with Black women dying at twice the rate of white women. We're joined now by 2 guests. In Washington, D.C., Minnie Timaraju is with us, president of Reproductive Freedom for All, formerly NARAL Pro-Choice America. And in Atlanta, we're joined by Monica Simpson, executive director of Sister Song, the National Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective that's based in Georgia, has a lawsuit against Georgia, arguing its 6-week abortion bans denying people in Georgia life-saving care. We welcome you both back to Democracy Now! Monica Simpson, let's begin with you. Can you talk about this situation right now? What the family wants for their beloved brain dead loved one who is pregnant and who doctors are keeping on life support?
Thank you so much for having me. It is a dire situation that we're dealing with here in Georgia, and we are constantly having to navigate this system that keeps showing us over and over again that it is deadly to be Black and pregnant in this state where access to care is so far out of reach for so many people, and the limitations and the criminalization that we are constantly navigating now with this abortion ban is something that Georgians did not want, and it's something that we are constantly doing all that we can to push back against. Adriana deserved to be here. What we know about her story is that she did what she knew what to do as a nurse. When she found out and she could feel in her own body that something was wrong, she went to the doctor. She went to get the care that she needed, and she was sent home. Now, if the doctors would have did everything they could, maybe we would have been able to get a different outcome for Adriana. But unfortunately, that's not what happened, because unfortunately, that's not what happens for so many Black women in this country. They are not trusted when they are going into their doctor's offices. They're not trusted when they are saying that there's something wrong with their bodies. They're not trusted when they are saying that they need access to care. And unfortunately, that's what happened to Adriana. And so now her family is battling such a hard time. They should be able to grieve. They should be able to take care of themselves and all of the family members who are having to deal with this ordeal. But unfortunately, they're having to navigate so many unanswered questions. They're having to navigate something they shouldn't have to, which is an abortion ban that's connected to this issue that should not even be at play at this particular moment.
And in Georgia, we're talking about one of the states that has among the worst maternal and infant mortality rates in the country, particularly for African-American women and children. Could you talk about that?
Absolutely. We are dealing in Georgia with maternal health deserts, right? Over half of our counties do not have access to an OBGYN. So care is out of reach for so many. We are also a state that is yet to expand Medicaid. And we know federally, we are still fighting for Medicaid to be something that Americans have access to, which means that there are thousands of people upon thousands of people who are falling in the cracks every single day, not having access to basic healthcare needs. So when you add that to a state that has now put a 6-week abortion ban in place, it makes it a very, very harsh environment for folks to be able to get access to what they need in terms of their reproductive health care.
I mean, it is amazing. Georgia's Attorney General, Chris Carr, released a statement declaring that the 6-week abortion ban doesn't require medical professionals to keep women alive on life support after they've been declared brain dead. Monica.
What I find very interesting about the times that we are in is that this abortion ban has created so many obstacles for people. There has been too many people who have tried to figure out what it means, when it means that. And that is the problem that we're dealing with here. It is not cut and dry. It is not black and white. It is something that we're having to constantly navigate over and over again.
I think that they keep what's irritating me about these, and I get what she's saying about the mortality rate and stuff. What's freaking, I'm sorry, excuse my, what's fucking bothering me is say what you mean what you say. Do you want a world where, as a mom, you're pregnant, you never told nobody you wanted an abortion, right?
Right.
If the Attorney General is going to release a statement saying that removing a mother off life support with a baby in her stomach is not an act of committing an abortion, then what is an act of? Because there's still a life there. And I just, you're complaining about this, but you're saying the hospital did not help Black women, but you want the hospital to pull the plug and kill Black babies? Help me think. What are you saying? Everything they're saying is contradicting themselves. In one
Well,
breath.
no, go ahead.
No, I'm saying in one breath you're saying pull the plug, kill the Black baby. In the next breath you're saying, well, they don't care about Black women.
Well, and I'm gonna quote Simon Sotomayor with this: when you let our women speak, they speak in circles. A lot of our women who do have voices, they are in fact walking contradictions. And it's bad I gotta say not all, because I know somebody gonna be upset with what I just said, but we all know it's not all. But in this particular case right here, she's a walking contradiction.
She is, very much so. I don't understand that. What is it an act of then? If you were pregnant and you plan on bringing this child into the world, you've bought things for the baby, clothes, you've had a baby shower. If you pass away, do you want a world where you pass away and the child is in there living and no one attempts to save it? Now I get it. Maybe the hospital, I guess they used a reason to not pull the plug, and they said, well, we do have the heartbeat law, so we're not just going to pull the plug on her and it's cool, right? But maybe they should just say, well, look, the baby is alive, we can save it. I mean, I don't know.
I'm like, if you already in the hospital and they have the means to save the person or save the child, what needs to be done should be done. It shouldn't be a conversation. Something like this shouldn't even be on the news, quite honestly, because you should save the child. If you're able to save the child, save the child. It's automatic.
I read somewhere that in Canada, it's not the United States, but in Canada, they had like a 20% misdiagnosis for brain dead. I've also read articles in the United States of people waking up after being declared brain dead. One person was actually being prepped for their organs to be harvested. So if this is the same hospital that misdiagnosed and sent her home, I wouldn't even trust them to say she's brain dead, because we know they got people waking up from being brain dead because the hospital got it wrong.
That's a mic drop.
So I think it's best sometimes in a storm to just be quiet and not do any damn thing. We'll just see what happens and we'll deal with it when it comes.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, don't pull the plug, because if y'all misdiagnosed it before, what makes you think? Why would anybody think you're not gonna not misdiagnose her or anybody else another time? So why pull the plug and you being wrong or something like that? And here she, like you said, she's laying on the table, getting ready to be prepped. Baby taking out, organs about to be taken out, and she just happens to open her eyes and wake the hell up. You know how stupid y'all would look after that? You know how much of a boy, you know how big of a lawsuit that would be?
Yep. And I'm gonna say something else that's unpopular. Honestly, she brought up Medicaid, Medicare, things like that. A lot of people are being affected by not planning ahead. If you do not have access to healthcare, probably
You
shouldn't
should
be.
not be having a child.
You should be reading up and knowledgeable on everything that it takes. It is expensive to have a baby. I know, because I've gotten the hospital bills. And so some of it is poor planning, and a lot of it, when you look up why these women are passing away, it is honestly because of poor health,
Yes,
is what it
I
is.
agree.
And they keep going in and they'll talk about what is affecting them. And I'm just being honest here. Even as a Black man, my people, we are unhealthy. There's a lot of things that affect us that don't affect other people. We are an unhealthy people. And no one wants to talk about it. They just want to say that this problem exists. They don't want to say why this problem exists. And instead of making people healthier, they just want to say, give them more health insurance. What is that going to do? They're still unhealthy people. I got great health insurance, but you can have the best health
Yeah,
insurance in the world. All it's going to do is get you a visit at the doctor. They're going to take your blood and say, look, you pre-diabetic.
you need to do X, Y, and Z.
Exactly. It's still on
Nope.
you. They can't do anything but tell you you pre-diabetic. Drink a lot of water. There's nothing else for us to do. And watch this. This is how dangerous it is. Because too, then you say, well, what about vitamins and supplements? Well, do you know that supplement, once you get pre-diabetic and you can't have and things and issues with your kidney, you can't even take those supplements anymore because that affects your damn kidneys.
Yep.
So the problem ain't just, if I had healthcare. Even if you had healthcare, you're unhealthy. What are you going to do to be healthy? You know you eating unhealthy. You know you ain't drinking a lot of water. So I gave you healthcare. Cool. You still unhealthy. You think they got a medical pill, a magical pill down there that you pop and you healthy? No. A lot of people are unhealthy. They don't plan ahead, and they have no idea what they're going to do when they get pregnant.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, we lead the nation in it. And that's sad.
Yep.
And that's funny we talking about that when this lady right here is clearly overweight as well. That's crazy. Like
Yep.
the irony is real with that.
And a lot of people think because they don't look obese, they just think their heart is healthy. But the men that I know, the guy I know drove for Starbucks. He didn't come home. He worked throughout the night, didn't come home one morning. They found him sitting in a chair in Starbucks, dead from a heart attack. This man was a bicyclist, was not fat, obese in the least bit. Still had a heart attack. And so a lot of people go in there and just assume, well, she didn't look this way, she didn't look that. No, she was unhealthy, regardless of how she looked.
Yeah.
And when you read why they're dying giving birth, it points to being unhealthy. Not that the doctor wasn't there, not that they were in some back alley.
We saved the back alley for the people with the BBLs.
Oh yeah. People just don't want to talk about it. She's just talking in circles. This lady just talking in circles,
and even based on what it is she's saying, like, I hate when a lot of people talk about things like that, because if you have a problem with them pulling the plug and, killing the baby or what have you, like the same in that same breath, being anti-abortion, all the other crap they talking. In that same breath, you should be out here adopting children.
Yeah.
One would believe.
Well, I think it's just they want the freedom to do what they want to do, and they want the freedom that in life and get any given situation things go the way I want them to go. That's really what they're saying. No. Life don't just happen. When this situation comes up, I want the power to say how it's going to go, and life don't work that way. And that's really what this is all about. I can't. Prince, was you about to say something?
Oh no. I was trying to text my
Okay.
dispatcher while you was talking. I figured I had a moment to do that.
Oh
But,
no. I was gonna play the rest of this video. Then it's cool.
no, I'm good. Now go on, play. I'm good now. I'm back.
Okay. I'm making sure I wouldn't over talk you if your mic went out. That's what I was making sure.
All right, you good, man.
At the end of last year, we lost 2 more Black women because of what this abortion ban put in place for them in terms of a barrier. We lost Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller, right? These are 2 Black women who were also pregnant in our state that wanted to terminate a pregnancy and came up against the very real barriers that this abortion ban puts in place for folks. And so what is happening constantly as we are getting these stories of Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller. Again, at the end of last year, we lost 2 more Black women because of what this abortion ban put in place for them in terms of a barrier. We lost Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller, right? These are 2 Black women who were also pregnant in our state that wanted to terminate a pregnancy and came up against the very real barriers that this abortion ban puts in place for folks. And so what is happening constantly as we are getting these stories, as we're understanding what the landscape is really looking like for people in Georgia because this abortion ban is in place, is that it is not a cut and dry. And we're not getting cut and dry answers here. We are dealing with folks who are in real time having to navigate too many questions whenever it should be that we should have access to the real time healthcare that we need in order for us to be able to thrive and to live our most healthy lives in Georgia. And that is not the case with this abortion ban that is currently in place.
Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at democracynow.org/give.
Okay. Watch live. Okay, they're talking about the mom. So she said with the lady, the abortion. Where is it at? Okay. Here we go. Let me see. All right. So that's Amber Nicole Thurman, who she was talking about, 28-year-old medical assistant who died of septic shock and retained products of conception following a medication abortion. And Georgia's Maternal Mortality Committee determined that Thurman's death was preventable and noted that the voluntary delay in performing the dilation and what's that? Let's see. This is a medical procedure that dilates the cervix and surgically removes tissue from the lining of the uterus by scraping or scooping curettage. The DNC gynecologic gynecologic procedure is used for treatment, diagnostic, and therapeutic purposes. They saying that significantly contributed to her death. It says background. Okay, that's when she was born. Thurman, a single mother of a young son and a medical assistant, had become pregnant in 2022 and decided to terminate the pregnancy. Georgia's recently enacted abortion law, which prohibited most abortions after 6 weeks, restricted her ability to access a surgical abortion in the state. By the time her pregnancy was confirmed, she had passed the 6-week limit. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to see. It doesn't say why, though. Okay. Anyway, in mid August 2022, Thurman traveled to North Carolina, where abortion remains legal in the first trimester. Arriving late for the procedure, she was handed the abortion pills, and that's mifepristone, and also known by its developmental code name Rue 486, is a drug typically used in combination with misoprostol to bring about a medical abortion during pregnancy. This combination is 97% effective during the first 63 days of pregnancy. After taking the medication, she experienced a rare complication, incomplete expulsion of fetal tissue, which resulted in a severe infection. 5 days later, on August 19th, 2022, Thurman went to Piedmont Henry Hospital in Stockbridge, Georgia. After her symptoms worsened, she showed signs of sepsis, including a high white blood cell count and low blood pressure, which indicated a serious infection. Medical guidelines suggest a procedure known as dilation and curettage. So that's what they were talking about. Should be performed promptly in such cases to remove the remaining tissue. So that refers to the first paragraph we read. Georgia's new abortion law, which criminalized most abortions after 6 weeks, included exceptions for life-threatening situations. By the time the procedure was performed 20 hours later, Thurman's condition had deteriorated and she died that same day. According to her death certificate, Thurman died of septic shock and retained products of conception, a description so rare that the last time it had been cited in Georgia death records was 15 years prior.
Damn.
So she lied. So did she die because of Georgia's abortion law, or did she die because she went to get an abortion and the type of one she got was not healthy for her body?
Sounds like the letter to me, sir.
Right? But see how they just throw names out there in sad situations, and she's just saying something. This young lady, it's illegal where you live. You're pregnant, you want an abortion, cool. You drive up to North Carolina, and what did you say? She was late for her procedure. Ma'am, you showed up late. Oh, I want it done. Cool. Well, we got the pills. Okay, I'll take those.
And that put her in an even worse situation.
Yeah, and it put her in a worse situation. So now she had to have an emergency procedure. And that's what happened.
Man, that don't sound like any wrongdoing by the hospital or nothing like that.
And they say it was a delay, but I think that it probably was a delay. They probably had to see if they could do the procedure or would they be held liable because the hospital didn't make the law.
Well, the simple fact that she went across state lines to do it, provided she did survive, and I don't know, the government in her state found out, she could have went to jail for that.
Yeah, it's crazy. She just went and did something. But she tried to paint the picture is that, and see, this context is important because she didn't give any context to the situation at all. She tried to paint the picture as if because Georgia denied her an abortion and that's why she died. No, Georgia, it's illegal here, so we can't do it. They didn't touch her, and she went somewhere and it was abortion pills she got from a whole nother state that did not agree with her body. They did not push all of the fetal material out of her, and it just caused an infection in her.
My question is, how long did that take to transpire? Because if that was the case, the doctors could have easily just went in and snip, get out what it is that do what it is they were able to do. Because when my wife had her miscarriage, that's what they did. They kept her on bed rest. They made sure that everything got out, and they went back up in there and checked.
Yeah, and I think this would have happened either way. It just says she traveled to North Carolina where the abortion remains legal in the first trimester. After arriving late for the procedure, she was handed the abortion pills.
So you can't even be on time for something illegal that you're trying to do to help yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. Is it illegal to go somewhere where it's legal?
Yeah.
Oh,
From what I read, yeah.
Oh. And it says after taking the medication, she experienced a rare complication, incomplete expulsion of the fetal tissue, which resulted in a severe infection. And I don't think that would have happened overnight. I think she would get the pill, she would go back, then she's back in Georgia, and the expulsion. Then it would take a minute. Then next thing you know, she's infected and she's sick. And it says she went to Piedmont Henry Hospital in Stockbridge after her symptoms worsened. So she experienced symptoms. Oh, okay. I'm just a little sick, but then it gets worse as she goes. Then she showed signs of sepsis, including high white cell count and low blood pressure. So they have to take blood and see what's going on. So this is all going on. And right here, and then here's the thing. Then it says medical guidelines suggest a procedure known as the dilation should be performed promptly in such cases to remove remaining tissue. Georgia's new abortion law, which criminalized most abortion after 6 weeks, included it. It says it included exceptions for life-threatening situations. By the time the procedure was performed, 20 hours later. So it's
they're probably using the argument to where she went out of state to do that, and due to the Georgia laws, she would have been better off just getting a hotel room out there for a few days and letting everything take its course, as opposed to going back home. Due to the abortion laws, they can't go in and try to fix anything now. That's probably what they're getting at with that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Or should I say, it's the only way it makes sense to me.
Yeah, and Crystal says that she was a nurse at the same hospital where she was at. So she says she's pretty sure she had good insurance working there. And probably so that's probably why she would go there. I was and that makes sense. I just think to say that it was just Georgia abortion laws that killed her is that's kind of fair and dangerous to say. It doesn't give any context, and it's going to hurt other women if you do not share the full story, which is, ladies, Be careful when you're going into another state and they giving you abortion pills, how it may affect your body. And when you come back, hospital people are not magicians. They have to try to figure out what's wrong with you. We don't know. It takes a minute. And if you're rushing to the hospital, I've been to the emergency room plenty of times. It takes some hours for people to see you and try to figure out what's going on. You ain't the only one in there being diagnosed at all. Like, so they put it there 20 hours later. Like, yeah, there's a procedure and we got to see what's wrong with you. We don't. She went and did something and made herself sick, not Georgia abortion laws. And even if Georgia didn't have abortion laws, she still would have got sick off the pills, perhaps. So I don't know. I think that lady, she's just hollering out names but not giving context. I don't think that's the right thing to do. Let's see. That's where the mom said, boom. This was a conference thing. I think when it starts. I was muted. What's up, my brother, Mr. Marcus Banks, man? How you doing? How you doing?
What up? What up? What up?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, we talking about this case. Georgia woman, brain dead, kept alive until she gives birth. To her, to the child and stuff. Some people agree, some people disagree. Trying to see this conference thing. I do not want to play this whole thing.
Good morning. I want to thank you all for being here today. I'm joined by community advocates and organizations such as Georgia National Organization for Women, Feminist Center for Reproductive Liberation, Planned Parenthood Southeast, Amplify Georgia Collaborative, and Sister Song National Women of Reproductive Justice, as well as Black Mama Matters Alliance and Indivisible, and Sister Love.
I ain't gonna lie, them some cool ass names.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, they actually put some thought into that, clearly.
Yeah. That's some dope ass names. It made her smile a little bit while she was reading them.
I wish we were gathered here under better circumstances, but the truth is what's happening right now in a hospital room at Emory Healthcare should shake every single one of us to our core. Adriana Smith was declared brain dead in February, a legal and medical determination of death. And since then, her bodily functions have been sustained by machines in an attempt to continue the pregnancy. According to her family, the hospital told them that this was required under Georgia law, but that would be an unusual and deeply troubling interpretation of her 6-week abortion ban. Women deserve the ability to give informed medical consent, and when they cannot, their families must be empowered to make decisions with full information and without fear. Families deserve clarity, providers deserve protection, and Georgians deserve laws that prioritize our health, dignity, and basic humanity, not confusion, delay, and fear. Republicans have made clear they won't repeal this cruel and unpopular law, and repeal is the only way to give women access and give them the care they need. And without repeal, Georgians deserve to know what care they can access. We do not know what this law demands, and that is a failure of leadership. I have sent a formal request to Governor Kemp asking him to use his authority to get an official legal opinion from Attorney General Chris Carr. That's not politics, that is the actual process. But the governor who signed this law into effect won't even acknowledge the question. He won't answer Georgia families. He won't answer doctors. He won't answer me, and he certainly won't answer the people of Georgia. But let me tell you what we do know. We know that the sponsor of this law says it's working exactly as intended, that this woman being kept on machines is the logical result of their legislation. Meanwhile, the Attorney General's office issues a press statement saying that the law doesn't actually require this outcome. These are not small contradictions. These are life and death contradictions. And then that's why I've sent a formal letter to Governor Kemp asking him to do what only he can, request a binding legal opinion from the AG that brings clarity to this crisis. And I've asked 4 basic but urgent questions that hospitals, doctors, and families across Georgia need answered. Number 1, under Georgia law, including the current abortion statute, is a hospital legally required to maintain a brain-dead pregnant woman on life support in order to continue gestation of the fetus? Number 2, what are the precise definitions that constitute a medical emergency under this law? Number 3, when the law allows abortion in cases where the fetus is incompatible with life, what conditions actually meet that threshold? And why hasn't the state made that explicit? Then number 4, how does this law affect legal standing of advanced directives and end-of-life planning for pregnant Georgians?
Yeah, what's up, Sharon? Shout out to you. You said then there has been a huge mistake with this woman, but offering a baby is wrong. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I think there got to be clarification because I thought if someone was dying in a hospital, you try to save them. And if the heartbeat law says that this child has rights in the womb, this is a human, this is a life, then I would think you're supposed to save the life. I think that would be understandable, clear cut, just across the board. Is the mother died, but the baby alive. I think you're supposed to save it.
I mean, I think that's clear cut. I think that's
Oh,
clear
go
cut with
ahead, my
all
bad.
adults.
Yeah,
I think that should be clear cut with all adults because everybody's been to the hospital before. Everybody has somebody who was, a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people have family members who are on death's door in the hospital, do everything in their power to save that person. It just so happened that in this case, it's 2 people. So y'all gonna go back on y'all word saying that a child is a life and wanting the plug pulled on this woman, in turn killing this child because of some abortion laws, but then say that the child should survive. So like, which is it? It's like they constantly moving that goalpost.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's I think it's an odd and weird thing. I would rather go with saving a life than terminating one. I just think that's the safest option. Sharon says, exactly, but I don't know about this. I'd have to read up on it. Yeah, I think we all got to do some more reading up on this. I just think it's interesting. And I would just go with the safest option for me is if you say you ban an abortion and you got a heartbeat law, I just think that you give aid to those that need aid. The mom died, but we're gonna save it.
You wanna know what my thing is? So if the mom is brain dead, so she's been considered deceased at this point. Why nobody is talking to the father? Because at this point, allegedly, if this guy is the father as well, but shouldn't he have the final say in whether or not he wants that kid, or pull the plug and end all of this as opposed to the grandmother?
He
Because
can't
if the kid,
because oh no, finish that.
well, I was just gonna say if the kid is born, and let's just say this guy is a decent dude, a father, not just a dad, but a father, wouldn't he want his kid? So like, why is the argument about pulling the plug?
But I think he's being kept out of it because he's not they're not married, you know. Uh I've experienced being in the hospital as not a husband, and then I've experienced being in the hospital as a husband, and they're two totally different experiences. And that's when you understand the importance of being married and planned pregnancy. It goes totally different. I think because he's a boyfriend, they're bypassing him. He has no legal right to any of it, not even the child in the stomach. I think this would go to when men speak about rights as fathers. You have none, and this is a clear example of that.
Clearly, yes, yeah. If that's the case, yeah, clear that man has zero say, zero right. That's jacked up. Like for real, that's messed up.
Yeah, he would not even be considered in this. Shout out to Crystal says, oh, she's speaking to Sharon. She says, I'm sure as a mother, she want her baby to survive if possible, even at the expense of my death or like her death. Sharon said exactly, and I agree with that. I don't think that mother ever said they would have to say this mother wanted an abortion or she's gonna put the kid up for adoption or something, and she didn't say that. It seems like she was wanting to be a mom.
And even if she did say that, my next thing would be prove it.
Yeah.
We gotta have
Oh,
this on paper or something.
Sharon says, I understand. I have been brain dead on life support. I was not pregnant, but I woke up. We was just talking about
Oh,
that, Sharon, that people do
we
wake up.
literally we were just talking about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't even trust these hospitals. I've seen cases where, and I was reading too, I would like Canada was at like 20% or something. Like, I wouldn't trust them. Like, we gonna sit here and see if they wake up. I wouldn't even trust them anyway with the whole brain dead thing because people are waking up. They had somebody wake up, he was about to harvest their organs. Like, hey man, put my heart back. They hadn't snatched his heart. They was about to. They was about to. They hadn't snatched his heart. I'm being dramatic, but seriously though, they said he was brain dead. And he was
Wake
about
up, wake
he
up!
was
What the
about
hell
to,
you doing with my spleen?
yeah, man. Like, hey man, put that back. I need that. Crystal says they kept my stepdaughter was found brain dead, and they kept her alive for over a month so she could donate her organs. Yeah, man. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think this is just tricky. I would just go with the safest option. If it's alive, save it and figure it out later on.
Yeah, Crystal. If the dad is staying at the hospital with her, clearly he's trying to see about his woman. And again, if that is the dad and not just a boyfriend who was dating while she was pregnant, if that is the dad, that will make anybody think like, okay, this dude trying to see about his baby, trying to be a father. So like why? It's messed up that this dude ain't being spoken to. Like it's messed up. It's messed up. This cat not being considered.
I Sharon says she was in Tennessee and says I'm not a donor. That's why they didn't bother you. Yeah, they didn't bother you, Sharon, because you wasn't no donor, man. That somebody told me that, and it's kind of scary to think about. They said like if you a donor, they take full advantage of that. Like they don't try to save you or something. I wonder how true that is, but I wouldn't be surprised. And then yeah, and Crystal says she took that off of her driver's license since then. Yeah. So a lot of people been saying that, man. Take that thing, take it off of your license being an organ donor because they don't be too concerned saving you when they know they can get your organs. And Sharon says, I don't want to find out how true it is. Me neither. But I understand, like, because I always thought to myself, like, hey, yeah, of course I donate my organs. You know, like if I'm really gone, I don't need them anymore. And if it can help save somebody else's life, sure. But that don't mean let me die so you can save somebody else's life. That means save me.
Right.
But if I really do go, then you can use them. But don't take them prematurely.
Right. Don't take them. Don't take them in my brain and my body's still trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
My brain talking to my stomach and my heart, like, say, bro, y'all ready to go? Not yet. No, not yet. We still got some work to do here.
They took something out your body. You wake up. Sorry, before you go,
You might want this liver back.
You sure you had a liver when you came in here? I'm pretty sure I did. I don't think you did. No, pretty sure I did.
Did you have your tonsils when you came up here?
Yeah, I did.
Did you still have 2 kidneys? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah.
I'm telling you. Let's see. Oh, Crystal says my husband last year suddenly, and the week before we went to the hospital. Same thing happened. Is exactly what this lady went through at the first hospital, and they didn't do any major tests they could have. Yeah, you know, and Crystal, I had a situation too where I went and got an X-ray, and the doctors didn't really explain my X-ray to me at all.
Bro, they never do.
Yeah.
They
I had
never
to
do.
go to like my actual doctor because I had switched doctors. So I was in the process of getting a new doctor because my doctor retired, and I got a whole nother X-ray done. You know, and thankfully everything is okay. But there's like a doctor was like, "Do you want to get an X-ray?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You know, I was at the hospital, and some of it I think is it's just them ripping and running, man. I remember so many people being in the emergency room. And it's like you see the same few people ripping and running back and forth, and not, you know, trying to take care of everybody. And I think sometimes they might become desensitized to it. You just get people in, get people out. You okay? You living? Get people in, get people out. And I think that's part of it and stuff. I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. Maybe have more people down there. Yo, what up, T? Hey, Prince, that's T right there.
Oh,
Remember
what
that?
up, T? What up, bro? What up, man?
Let's see. Let me get through this. I gotta eat pretty
They're
soon.
urgent because as long as this law remains vague, we will continue to see families traumatized, providers criminalized, and patients left behind. Doctors are being forced to make impossible choices. Families are trapped in grief and fear, and women are dying, just like Amber Nicole Thurman, who was denied care for over 20 hours and died on the operating table. Just like Candy Miller, who died after managing her own abortion at home because she was too afraid to go to the hospital. The governor's own Maternal Mortality Review Committee has called these deaths preventable. Is this the Georgia that we want? We are calling on the governor to do his job, request a formal opinion from the AG, and tell the people of Georgia what this law actually means. We're not going to sit quietly while women are used as test cases for a law no one will take responsibility for. And the buck stops with the governor. He signed this bill into law. Now it's time for him to face the consequences of what he's doing to real families. This law does harm to Georgians every day, and we deserve clarity, we deserve compassion, and we deserve better than silence. Thank you. Next, we will have Casey Marushak speak, and she will share her personal story about how Georgia's abortion law affected her.
Yeah, let's hear this.
Good
This should be
morning, and
good.
thank you for having me here today. My name is Casey Marushak, and I'm here today not just as a grieving mother, but as a voice for women who have suffered in silence because of the unintended consequences of Georgia's abortion laws. What happened to me is not rare. It is not an outlier. It's happening every day. 1 in 4 women experience a miscarriage. Over half of them need medical.
I'll start it over. Hey, shout out to Crystal. I'm sorry to hear that. I know that had to be hard on you. And
That was definitely hard. 23 years. I mean, God bless your marriage, but man, I knew that had to be hard, man. Lord.
Her. Good morning, and thank you for having me here today. My name is Casey Marushak, and I'm here today not just as a grieving mother, but as a voice for women who have suffered in silence because of the unintended consequences of Georgia's abortion laws. What happened to me is not rare. It is not an outlier. It's happening every day. 1 in 4 women experience a miscarriage. Over half of them need medical intervention to complete it safely. This is not just a political issue, it's a medical one. And yet what I went through proved just how dangerous it is when politics interfere with healthcare. Allow me to share my story with you. We lost our baby. We found out on a Thursday morning in March, just 1 day after our gender reveal, that our daughter no longer had a heartbeat, but she had been given a name, Sawyer Nicole Christian. In a matter of seconds, we went from preparing to welcome her into our lives to trying to figure out how to say goodbye. My doctor was sympathetic, but because of the restrictive abortion laws, my care was limited to a list of abortion clinics, no follow-up plan, no guidance, and no support. Over the next 2 days, I called clinic after clinic, continuously having to repeat and relive that Sawyer did not have a heartbeat. My insurance recommended me go to the emergency department because of increasing septic symptoms, so I did. I spent 7 hours there in pain, in grief, and in shock, only to be discharged with no treatment, no resolution, and no care. However, we did learn I had a condition called placenta previa, meaning that if my body had tried to complete the miscarriage on its own, I could have hemorrhaged. I could have lost my ability to have children, and I could have lost my life. And yet still nobody helped. I was forced to walk around for more than a week carrying Sawyer, who was no longer alive. Our healthcare system had no place for my situation because the restrictive abortion law ties the hands of medical professionals. Our daughter had a name. She had a family who prayed for her, who loved her before she ever arrived. Her feet will never walk this earth. Her hands will never dig in the dirt in our backyard, but she left her mark on our hearts. And now she's giving me the courage to speak to you today. My story is not unique. I am not alone. I'm one of many women who have been failed by a system that does not see us, doesn't protect us, and does not trust us to make decisions about our own bodies. The government does not belong in women's health care. It does not belong in our grief, our decisions, or in our exam rooms. This issue will touch every family in some way, someday. When it does, I hope things are different. I hope your daughter, your sister, your niece, or your friend is treated with the care, respect, and the urgency that I was denied because I was failed by policies that value politics over people, by a system that does not trust women to know their bodies, their pregnancies, or their pain. I am not here to debate the morality of abortion. I am here to speak to the urgent need for clear medical exceptions that protect women in crisis. Doctors need legal clarity and the freedom to act quickly when a woman's health is at risk, not after she is on the verge of sepsis. I refuse to stay silent. I refuse to let Sawyer's story end in a hospital hallway or an unanswered phone call. Her name will not be buried quietly. She mattered, and through her, I have found my voice, and I will continue to use it. I will keep speaking until change is no longer a plea, but is a promise. Because if this can happen to me, it can happen to anyone, and I will not stop until women's health care becomes the priority. Thank you.
Hey, pause it right there, bro. That's Georgia, correct?
Yep. Yeah. This is Georgia. On here.
Okay. Well, Georgia must have some jacked up, I mean, some horrendously bad abortion laws because here in Louisiana, abortions are also illegal. But both times, both, not just one, both times. My wife lost our children in her womb. They just went in, took the baby, and did what they had to do. It wasn't anything where they had to figure out legal paperwork or loopholes or nothing like that. So I don't know what Georgia abortion laws is, but for her to have to go through all that she just spoke about, that's insane.
But it said that legally they had exceptions to the law though. I don't
There
get
are
I don't know what is.
there are exceptions to the law, and I don't see why the baby's heart stopping in her womb and passing, they don't just go in and do what they have to do, or should I say, go in and do what they should do.
I think they could.
That's why I'm confused.
I think this is just bad hospitals and medical professionals that just don't know what they're doing. Is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
It sounds like we just don't have good medical professionals in these hospitals. I don't even know if it's necessary the law. I think this is on the insurance companies and these medical professionals and how they're caring for people. That's what I think this boils down to be honest with you.
well, no, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I focused on in what I said. I focused on the law, on the laws, because that's what she was talking about. That's why she was up there. That's why she was up there giving her particular experience based on the abortion laws. But yeah, it had to be like she must have had some horrible nurses and doctors looking at her then, because me and my wife didn't have any problem, and I was there at the hospital the entire time, saw the entire procedure myself, never left the hospital room.
I think some of her issue could be legal, and I think that's why they have her there because she has a powerful story. But I
Mhm.
think it's more so on just Georgia having bad hospitals.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it boils down
Some
to.
places people will tell you the hospitals, the doctors, they're just terrible. They don't have when it comes to certain things, they're lacking when it comes to women having children. It's been a constant cases and stories behind the women having babies. I don't. They need better programs or something. Um, I was thinking to myself that I think for the next 3 generations, there needs to be a hyper focus on women of all races and cultures in the medical field and taking these positions from these doctors and delivering
Yes,
their own children. And I think that needs to be mandatory.
yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that one there.
Yeah.
Because
It need-
if you're gonna complain about the service that you're getting, as far as hospital goes, in childbirth, of course, you shouldn't have to be complaining about the men or the majority of the male doctors. You should have a woman delivering your baby because she's experienced with possibly with her, her experience in the hospital getting her baby delivered,
yeah.
hopefully by another woman.
And also it contributes to the research. Everybody needs to be involved. I think most of the research, medication practices, studies are maybe done on one group, and I think it needs to be done on everybody, and so that it's
Right.
fair, so people get treatment that is catered based on you. And so I think really it should only be women up in there. I think all the women, all the races, all the cultures, they need to come together and they need to hyper focus and take over at least that part of the medical
Yeah, at
field.
least that sector.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
I
at least that portion.
I only go to women anyway.
Mhm.
Like um, my doctor, dentist office, dermatologist. Um, when I went to urologist, that was a guy. But usually I always go to the women. So
If I can get a woman, I prefer one. I believe my neurologist was a guy. It's been a while since I had to get anything neuro related done. Well, I'm pretty sure my neurologist was a guy. But yeah, everything else, my dentist, my primary care doctor, pretty much everything I do in the hospital, I try to get a woman because it seems like a lot of the men tend to be pretty dismissive.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, my primary care doctor I just got new one was is a woman, and before that it was a guy, but he was like super old school, and I liked him. The other primary care doctor I had before that was a guy. I didn't like him, so I said I didn't want to go to him anymore and stuff, and I was complaining about him. So yeah, I just think women need to take over. They need to link up like the Avengers and just
I would be
and
terrified to get an old male primary care doctor. Like you go to him with a broken arm, he tell you to lay down and take a nap.
yeah. Let's see. Crystal said she should have stayed there till everything was done to ensure there was no complications. Yeah, yeah. You know
Roster.
what? You know what, Crystal? I think sometimes I think it's sad because I think we put so much trust in them, and something is wrong, and they just say no, you'll be okay. Just go ahead, go home, and people just go along with it because I think that's how we've been taught, and I think now we're kind of standing up saying like we really can't trust these people judgment. And you're right, like you gonna like now I'm gonna stay here, or hey, whatever, I'm gonna drive. I I know you don't want to stand in line no more and stuff, but you like even if I have to leave and go somewhere else, but you kind of killing time, I think probably it'd be best to stay there and say, look, this is no something's wrong, something's wrong, or over exaggerate what's wrong with you to force it. You know, every time they ask you from 1 to 10, what's your pain? Say 20. Like I think over exaggerated, when I went to the emergency room, I just I was really hurt and I was in pain when I went to the emergency room, but I still kind of over exaggerated it. I made them give me a CT scan and the lung thing and everything, and um especially when they do the my chart and the results will go up there and you can read it. Even though they didn't explain it to me, I read it, and I had to do my own like Googling what's this word mean and stuff. And I was like, I think I'm okay, but I still wanted to get another x-ray. So I got another x-ray done. And then my primary care doctor told me, okay, hey, you're all good. You're all clear. And I said, cool, thank you. Because the hospital, when I went there, I forced them to do the scans on me so I could get it on my chart and online, but they didn't explain it to me. So I had to do my own Google searches, but I'm no doctor, but
They can't hear me.
yeah, I can hear you. You had dropped
Okay.
off and stuff.
Yeah, I pinpointed exactly where that dead zone was. That's why I went on mute before I dropped off. That sucker disconnected. Man, let me tell you why I hate male. I mean, I heard your story too. Let me tell you why I hate male doctors. In case you don't know, I have scoliosis, and I got my surgery done way back when I was in high school. So that's damn near 20 years ago, and I got the old school surgery, I guess you could say, given our times. So from the base of my neck all the way down to my tailbone is a scar, and I have metal rods and screws in my back.
Dang.
I'm telling the doctor that my back is messed up. Like I mean, I know when I got the surgery done, the doctor basically told me I'm gonna be in pain for the rest of my life. But this just feel like right now it just feels weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's fully aware of my scoliosis, my spine fusion that I had, and he tell me he gonna give me an MRI. So now I'm looking at him like he crazy because like, bro, you trying to kill me. If I go into an MRI, it's going to be like Magneto ripping out Wolverine's skeleton or something. Like, no.
You're right.
So,
No, yeah, you can't do that.
yeah, exactly. This dude tried to kill me. Like, he literally tried to kill me. So he got some X-rays done, some regular X-rays, and he said he didn't see anything. All right, bet. Later on down the line, I got me a new primary care doctor, a woman. She set me up for a CT scan. And she was like, well, the CT scan isn't going to do anything to your back. It's basically just a more powerful X-ray. It's not an MRI, but we will still be able to see, your equipment in your back. I'm like, all right, bet, cool. All right, I'm down for that. I could knock that out. She went and looked at it and everything. I went to the doctor, got all that done. She went and looked at it and everything. Like, bro, you got a broken screw by your tailbone.
Damn.
It took her to go above and beyond, and to actually look at my my CT to see that I have a broken screw in my spine with bone spurs and all. But yeah, he didn't see anything. On top of him trying to kill me. On top of him trying to murder me.
That's what I'm saying. Just bad doctors. I don't think they know what they doing. I would say just more training, more care. Maybe they need more people in there. I don't know. That's crazy. If he would have sent you up in there, it'd be like when Magneto, like you said, when Magneto get a hold of Wolverine, man. Like, come on.
Like, yeah, bro. And luckily, due to me loving to, read and make myself knowledgeable about certain things, I already knew for a fact that if I don't know what type of equipment that I have, I can't do any MRI because I don't know what it is. Now, luckily, I know that it's some type of metal. I know that much. I don't know if it's titanium or whatever the case, but I know it's metal. And I knew for a fact that if I get into this MRI, I'm good as done. Or at the very least, paralyzed for the rest of my life. One or the other.
Yeah, but and that thing could have maybe because of the magnetic, it could have moved the screw and hit a nerve, paralyzed.
Man,
Like, you see what
what?
I'm saying?
And
Anything.
you a doctor. How was this not considered before that came out your mouth?
I'm saying all doctors are not created equal.
Clearly.
They are not. Crystal says, "Oh, I lost the baby and body didn't reset it, so they performed a DNC." Okay, like the lady we was reading about earlier, that's the procedure she had when she took the abortion pills. Okay, yeah, to remove the rest of the yeah, that was similar to the other young lady. She had the pills that induced the abortion, but it didn't remove all the way, and so because of that, she got an infection. Okay, so you was able to get that done, so you didn't get infected.
But
Those
that's
are
why I
all
was saying
things
earlier,
that
my wife did that. They did
yeah.
that with my wife. That's like a standard procedure. So like, how could I guess if she would have stuck around and not went back home, I'm guessing she probably would have been able to get that done. But I'm surprised that wasn't something that would be on the table.
I don't know if that's something they talk about. You might think of it. I think it comes up if you have a miscarriage, right? And you're like, okay, we need to make sure everything's out and clean, right? She goes and leaves her state, gets a pill, and maybe just didn't think about that. So when she got sick, she didn't know. Who says if those doctors there told her to look out for that?
Just going off the way the story is told, that seems to be exactly the case. I don't think they even spoke to her about that being a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I don't, and that's why I say I don't think it's just the law. I think it's whoever handed her those pills and didn't warn her about that.
Right.
She may have never been through nothing like that before. You don't just hand somebody some medication like that. That's serious medication, and not tell them, hey, this could cause this. So if you feel this, then you don't need to wait. You need to come back, do what you need to do, because this is a procedure that will need to be done. Or they might have told her and she didn't follow instructions.
That's a possibility too. Because I'm baffled as to why something like that wasn't talked about, or why coming back to make sure everything was out wasn't an option. I'm surprised they even let her. I'm surprised they gave her the pill and even let her leave the hospital in general. Quite honestly,
I think somebody stole my skull. Yeah, they took my skull. Oh, I see it. It's over there, and I don't want to grab it. You know what I'm talking about, the skull. Oh man. Oh, okay, Prince, he's still there. He's just on mute. Okay.
yeah, I see. I got a phone
Morning.
call.
As has been articulated by many, we're not brought here today for one particular case, but for a multitude of situations that happen throughout Georgia, one of which you just literally heard because of this draconian law that this legislature passed. What we have learned, and frankly, both Democratic caucuses understood, is that this is what happens when you deprive women of their autonomy and their choices. What these situations tell us is that more women and more Georgia families will endure these uncertainties, pain, and suffering. So let's be clear. First and foremost, we need to give women their autonomy back and repeal HB 481. That is always the goal of this caucus and the House Democratic Caucus, and quite frankly, the people of Georgia. As that fight continues, we must stand with Senator Parks and demand clarification from our governor and attorney general. What rights do women have under this law? Georgians have been asking this question. We as legislators have been asking this question. And the people standing here today have been asking this question. Yet Georgia's leadership has stayed silent. This morning, I stand with everyone here to tell the attorney general to answer the calls of these women, answer the call of the families of this state, answer the call is so desperately needed. It is his responsibility and the governor's responsibility to give us these answers. Whether through a formal legal opinion or other means, these answers must come. The women of this state and families of this state demand this. It is my duty as Senate Minority Leader, it is the duty of the Senate and the House to prevent deaths, to prevent suffering, to prevent the heart-wrenching stories, one of which you heard today. We say we are here to do the people's business. Well, the people need answers. It's time to get to business. With that, I'll let Representative Park Cannon speak.
I'll pass it to the last transition. I'd like to thank you all for being here, and particularly thank Casey for sharing her story. She is a powerful speaker who speaks to the impacts of delayed care in Georgia. And this is a ripple effect that happens across our state. My name is Park Cannon. I'm proud to serve as the secretary of the House Minority Caucus. And outside of the legislature, I am a full spectrum doula. That means I help people whether they want to be pregnant or not, whether they can sustain a pregnancy to term or not. And many times in those decision-making moments, it's not about the government and it's not about God, it's about science and medicine. And today what we're experiencing in Fulton County is a medical travesty and is a concern that all legislators should carry, because we see the through line of House Bill 481 through so many different reproductive injustices happening. As the legislator for the area where Grady Hospital is, I want to thank the professionals there for doing above and beyond care, because now they're the only level 1 trauma center in this area. Since Wellstar has closed, also within District 58, we have been looking around the state to figure out what happens when hospitals close and what happens when there is medical confusion based on the law. Additionally, with Emory University Hospital Midtown being in District 58, it has been very clear that our constituency want to see justice as served. That specifically means that medical professionals are able to do what they need to do, and that the surviving family is able to grieve privately. We ask for the privacy for her family, but we also ask for the repeal of House Bill 481. So if you're here today, I want to transport you back to the day that House Bill 481 was passed here in this chamber. Many of us in the legislature clamored and cried. We said there will be vague circumstances that take place because of this law. After the law was passed, thankfully, based on a number of these organizations here like Sister Song and Planned Parenthood and Feminist, we took it all the way to the Georgia Supreme Court. And we said this law is vague, not just vague because what happens if somebody is in an HOV lane and pregnant and gets pulled over, but because of medical travesties like this one. So today we asked for the legislature to consider a full repeal of House Bill 481, which put this ban into effect and created the vagueness that we see, and to enact the Reproductive Freedom Act, which you will hear about. Thank you very much.
Next, we will have Kwajalein Jackson speak. She will be closing out this press
Hey,
conference.
pause it real quick. I
She's
got a
with the
funny
Feminist
story.
Center for Reproductive Liberation.
Okay. Yeah. I was about getting done with that. Anyway.
Old girl mentioned being pregnant and getting pulled over on the HOV lane.
Yeah.
I remember something like that actually happened to my ex, my son's mom. And I actually got her out of a ticket. I told her to call me on speakerphone. I talked to the cop. I was like, I ain't gonna pull her
Oh, what
over.
you do?
She's clear. I just told the cop like she's clearly pregnant. That's two people, right? The cop and being NOPD, he was like, oh, well, can't even argue that. Yeah, bro. All right, man, y'all be cool.
Yeah. He said, look at that car. How many people you count? He's like, one. He's like, no. How many people you count? Two people in there.
Well, look down, bro. She's clearly pregnant, man. That's two people, bro.
But that does remind me too, is like for anybody that says like, oh, well, they should pull the plug. I do want you to think about the fact that in some states, if you kill a woman that is pregnant, you're charged with 2 murders.
Yep, absolutely. Actually, to my knowledge, I think that's every state, actually. Because
Is it now? I know it was
seen,
different for some states before it went
I've
off
never
the.
seen a case where the person was charged with just one murder. I've never seen a case like that. Whenever that woman was pregnant, despite the state, they always got 2 charges of murder. Always. I
Well,
think that's nationwide.
Well, maybe I'm thinking about state to state. I think it changes like how far along they are, but I would have to double check back now that they got new abortion laws in place. And so you would have to think to yourself, if in this state, if I were to do something to this woman and they would charge me with double murder, then if she is brain dead, I in fact have to save this child.
Correct.
You can't say in one breath that's double homicide, then something happens, you just let the child die. I mean, that's something to think about.
I mean, something else to think about is the simple fact that this is even a conversation. I mean, you're considering pulling the plug on this woman and Xing out the child in hindsight. That's crazy. That's crazy to do.
Yeah, I think for me, I would think first nature would be
to save the kid.
Yeah, that's
to save the baby.
Is that thing most people sitting there with like, oh my god, what's like if you notice like, oh, she's pregnant, check the baby. I hope the baby's okay. You know?
I mean, and I understand the grandma is grieving, but you know, you're upset with seeing how your daughter is laying right there. But wouldn't you want your grandbaby to, come out healthy still?
Yep.
And we have yet to hear from the father, which is insane in and of itself.
I cannot.
Yeah. I well, you reminded me. I know you said the father, and I said I got this other one. Watch this one. This happened 6 years ago, though.
I cannot imagine being this husband, seeing his wife on this ventilator, knowing she is pregnant. Two different sides to this case. From what I understand, your perspective, you're essentially taking or speaking for the mother in this case. Yes.
Well, the father and the family in this case, Brooke, keep on saying that they've had this end of life discussion, or they had this end of life discussion, and she had explained that she didn't want to be put on life support. But I think that this is a different situation. I haven't heard from the family that they had the discussion that if I am pregnant, still don't put me on life support. So I think that's a consideration that we have to think about. And the law is very clear, yes, that if there is a pregnant woman, that she is to be kept on life support. And I've got to tell you, this case is not necessarily unusual. Rare, perhaps, yes, but not unusual. Since 1982, there have been 30 women that have given birth while brain dead, many of them to healthy children. And so I suspect that this is a case of a grieving father, of an overwhelmed father that may not want to be a parent to two children. But I suspect that this sort of discussion about end of life directives, that she didn't want to be kept alive, even if she were pregnant, I just can't imagine that discussion took place. Remember, this was a wanted pregnancy. This was a woman who had another child. And I think that, the hospital is following what the law mandates in Texas.
Right. They are following what the law mandates. And again, you and I were not on the inside of this conversation that this woman had with this husband, but that's what at least, the family is saying. Jane Velez Mitchell, I know we have you now, and you would disagree with Sonny, but again, there is no paperwork. There is no documentation showing these wishes that this woman, or even if a husband, would want to be taken off of life support. But that has to complicate things tremendously.
Brooke, this is a bad law, and it's being twisted into even worse behavior. I mean, this law essentially says if you're a pregnant woman, you can't be taken off life support. There is no life. She is brain dead, according to the family, and she is a corpse that is being used as an incubator for a baby the family does
Jane, what
not
about
want.
the baby?
This is
What
Orwellian.
about a
Let me
20-week-old
finish.
baby?
Let me finish,
Ooh, they
please, with due
banging
respect,
on the
Sonny. I love
news.
you, but I couldn't disagree more with your position. This is Orwellian. It's obscene. It's something out of A Handmaid's Tale. It is really robbing women of their power. 100 years ago, women didn't have the right to vote. In this post-feminist age, we forget that, and we assume
Of
that
course,
all
they
the
bring up the
rights that
voting.
we have, we will keep forever. But there are
This is
forces
not an
out
issue
there
of
trying to
women's
take away
rights.
our rights. And this, yes, it is. Absolutely. This would not happen to a man. This is a woman who is being used as a mere vessel. Women have been reduced to vessels.
How could it happen to a man? We don't get pregnant.
Mic drop. It would never happen to us.
And let me tell you something. Things like this do happen to men. People just don't highlight it. There are men that go to hospitals all the time with things, and they send us home. They do this to everyone. They're just bad hospitals, bad doctors, overworked, probably don't have the help that they need in these facilities. And they get to a point where they're desensitized, and after, because not like people are product, but after a while, people just become people walking in and out the door. And I think we've lost the sense of humanity, honestly, is what I think it is. There's so many people to check on and look at, and you become desensitized to it. Somebody's always going to be sick. Somebody's always going to be dying. Like in their line of work, somebody's always sick. Somebody's always dying. Some people get better. Some people don't. And it's just, you get them in, you get them out. The bed you're laying in, somebody else needs it. You can't stay there forever. You got to go, and they send you home.
My thing is what the lady on the end was talking about. Like who out here getting married and sitting down having this very, very specific conversation of if I'm pregnant, depending on how far along I am, and something happens to me to where I'm on life support, pull or don't pull the plug, save or don't save the baby. Who are having these conversations and
Never had
actually getting stuff like that in writing?
never had it.
Me, never had it. Not once. Never even crossed my mind until now, honestly. Since it seems to be such a big deal with pregnant women being on life support, I never once even it never crossed my mind. I'm gonna go write me. I'm gonna tell my wife about my will. When I die, give my PlayStation 7 to my brother. Throw it in the lake because I don't want nobody to play my games.
I know that this lady. She just came in hot, banging on the
She
news.
came in super hot.
Let's
Then while the
see.
lady was talking, she come in there. So what she said? Let me finish. Just cut the lady off. Like damn.
This would never happen to a man. Men don't get pregnant.
That almost sound like the interview I heard with Ricky Smiley talking about police shootings. This don't ever happen with white people. Okay.
That's funny because actually it happens more to them, which is
It does. It happens. It happens a hell of a lot more. It happens a hell of a lot more. I actually made a video about that on my channel, and I went and found what 3 or 4 police shootings off the top of my head of white people getting shot.
oh man, that's crazy. Let me see how much longer we got to go. Then I gotta let's see.
Vessels. She is a corpse being used as an incubator against the wishes of the father of the child. Now, this child, according to the family, could have severe disability. She was passed out for an hour. The circumstances of the pregnancy are very dicey. Are the state
There's
lawmakers
no
and the other
indication that the
lawmakers who
child
passed this
has
going to take
any
care of this
issue.
child
Hang
when she's 20 years
One
old?
voice
Of
at
course
once,
not.
ladies. One voice at once. So we heard Jane. Sonny, respond to Jane.
Listen, there's no indication at this point that this child has any issues. And again, I suspect that this is about a
There's
father
no
perhaps
indication
being
she doesn't
overwhelmed,
have any
a father not wanting to care for a child that is less than perfect. But that doesn't, I think, sort of. You can't be dismissive of what the law is in Texas, which is really, I think, crafted so that most women who do want to bring their babies to life are protected. And so I don't really think that this is a question.
Of what a woman's
I don't think this is
desire
a
is.
question of
She
women's
was an
rights. I think
EMT.
it's a question. I think it's a question.
It is a question of women's
whether or
rights.
not. I don't agree with
We
you.
don't know.
I don't
Let me
think
jump in.
I
Let
don't
me
think
jump
that's-
in.
Can I argue
Jane,
why?
Sonny
It
and Jane,
opens a
Sonny and Jane.
Pandora's box.
Guys,
It
hang on.
opens a Pandora's box.
Hang on. I hear the passion.
People are psychos. You do not get to go in there and, as a father, say, "Hey, well, my wife died. I don't want to take care of my kids no more." If that's the case, just give them up for adoption, dude. You ain't got to take care of them.
It's very simple.
Yeah, give them up. That's all you got to do.
I mean, the hospitals are going to do what the hospital has to do, whether they listen to you or not.
Yeah, you don't. If she's brain dead and she's a corpse, why are you? This lady's so silly. Is if she's truly a corpse, that lady don't give a damn what you do to her body. She gone.
Boom!
She ain't got no feeling.
I was literally just about to say that because I found it disrespectful that you're on this. What is this? What is this? CNN. You're on a nationally syndicated news station on this show, and you just disrespected this man's wife, calling her a corpse, a incubator against her will. That is diabolical.
And here's the thing too. If the husband is married to the wife and she is in fact a corpse don't have rights. And the only thing the father can say is, well, cremation or burial. Right?
That's it.
But since when do parents or fathers get to decide a kid dies? So now the child, the baby's life takes precedent.
Correct.
And it can't speak for itself. So we have no choice but to save it. Correct?
Correct.
To me, I think it's just common sense.
It is.
So how is
But
it?
common sense isn't common.
Oh yeah, it's not. Because I don't know how it's about women's rights if the woman is dead or I'm just saying these are her words. She said corpse. I don't think corpse.
I mean, the most in regards to rights that a corpse has is when you do something and you get charged with desecration of a corpse. That's literally
Yeah.
the only thing that can get you in trouble in regards to someone that's already deceased. But in this particular case, this deceased person so happens to be pregnant. Now we have to do everything we can to save the child.
Correct.
It shouldn't be a conversation about women's rights for the rights of a woman of whom is already literally and figuratively, but literally deceased. There are no rights to talk about at that point.
Yeah, this
both of your voices. But let me just ask this, just trying to understand this. When we talk about the law, and I was reading article after article, I read a quote from this medical ethicist who we talked about before in other cases, and he says the law, doesn't hold up here because the woman is considered dead. Jane?
Yes, she is being used as a mere vessel, as an incubator. So this opens a Pandora's box. What's next? I mean, I'm not being alarmist when I say that there are forces who would like to see there's parts of the world where women can't drive. Okay, what's next? Are we going to say that, when a woman gets to a certain trimester, she shouldn't be allowed to drive because if she has an accident, it's going to harm the fetus?
Jane,
That's
I love you,
the
but
Pandora's
that
box
is just
that is being
so
opened
intellectually dishonest. That is so ridiculous, Jane.
she is reaching. Why
That's
is she talking
so
about
You know
that?
what's intellectually
I'm gonna
dishonest?
have to
This
use
law.
that going
This is
forward.
not a question of like
Intellectually dishonest.
This is not a question of women's rights. If anything, it's a question of her right to keep her baby alive. And I suspect with a wanted pregnancy,
doesn't want
those were her wishes.
I imagine that this conversation here
These
is a
were
microcosm.
emergency medical technicians.
Ladies, it is a microcosm of conversations going round and round. And again, we have what the hospital and what the law says, we have what the family says, and we have to wait and see what happens
I
next.
have
But
to
I
use that.
appreciate
This is
the
a
passion coming from
microcosm.
both of you. Sunny
of-
Hostin, James Les Mitchell, appreciate you both.
That's how you
Thank
shut people up.
Well, the family of 19-year-old twins
Gotta start
found
using
dead
big
on a
words.
Towns County.
Can't give that away. That's for the next video that I do.
Oh Lord.
I'm not gonna do that one. I don't have enough time. I talked about this longer than what I thought I was. I don't have time to cover the twins, and I like to wait till later to talk about things so I can get the full story. But that'll
That's the
be
best way to go about it.
interesting. Me and Prince can later on sometime this week or whatever can do that. Let's see. Catherine says it's the rights of the family. They are the ones going through this with no choice. And he says Sonny is wrong. Catherine says I should go get some fresh air. I am gonna go get some fresh air in a minute. I'm about to end this pretty soon. I would say this for the story we just read. I don't know if a mother has a wanted pregnancy. I don't think if something happens to her, she wants you to kill her kid. I think she wants her kid to be kept alive. And so I don't see why a husband would be able to say that. I don't think so. If you can save a life, you save it. You know?
Yeah, talking about men's rights. I mean, in that particular situation right there, man, I don't think you have anything to say, bro. Y'all married. This was a planned or a wanted pregnancy. You don't have that right to exit out, bro. You got to take that L on this one.
Oh, what's up, Catherine? I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Always good to see a dono.
Let's see. And Catherine says, I disagree with y'all now. The husband wants this. Well, no, the husband doesn't. The husband didn't want her to be on life support. That happened 6 years ago. That was just an example that what's going on with the lady in Georgia does happen to other people, and from 6 years ago. So the husband doesn't want that. I just they were bringing up the conversation was perhaps people need to have things in place and start making wills that see, especially, and I can understand that if you're going to have abortion laws, perhaps couples are going to have conversations or need to start having conversations saying, well, hey, if I pass away, what are we going to do with the child, and make that in the will.
Yeah, but things like that could be in the will, of course, but getting down to the specifics, like, they were randomly, some YNs was randomly shooting up the block, and I got busted in my head. Now I'm on a respirator in a coma for 17 years. Don't kill the baby. Like these types of conversations are not being had. Nobody's thinking about that.
Yeah. And think about this, for any women listening, and what if you were pregnant, right? And because here's the thing, we don't know the dynamics of people's marriages, right? And what if you were pregnant, you had a child, and something happens to you, you pass away, right? And your husband is like, yeah, just take off life support and let the baby die. For some women, that would be horrifying. Like, think about that. Like, in your death, he just does a total 180 and switches on you, right? And yeah, let the baby die. I think some women, you have to admit that some women would be against that. Like, no, because some of y'all know y'all mama gonna pull up. Like, hold on, give me my grandbaby. Like, really? you know, and the husband, if he's experiencing the death of his wife, I don't even think he's in the right mind to make that decision. And so that's why, for me
Right.
personally, I think the easiest and the best answer is, until we got clear heads, do nothing. It's alive, save it. What harm could that do? Versus you kill it, you can't reverse that. It just, you did it. And then later on, you regret it. I've seen women give testimony to say, hey, I was going to give my kid up for adoption, but I held my child that one last time and I changed my mind. It's just, sometimes I think it's just best not to do anything. Just, if it's alive, save it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what they should do. I mean, and I love your point where he's not even in the right frame of mind to make a rash decision like that.
Yeah, that I don't think so. Catherine says the maternal death rate in Georgia for Black women is almost the highest in the country. Oh yeah. We played a video for talking about that. I think women should take over when it comes to women's health care and giving birth and all that. I think that should be ran by women, made by women. I think all women should get together and take over that. Catherine says, my husband should have the right. 9 weeks, though. Says she was in the first trimester. Now her mom visits her dead body. God bless her family. And thank you, sir. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for coming through. Your support. Oh, what else I was going to show? Oh, okay. This that thing about false positive diagnosis of brain death following the pediatric guidelines, case report and discussion.
Ooh, snap! My wife just sent me a link.
Yeah.
Louisiana lawmakers kill proposed abortion exception for child rape. Oh Lord, I have to read that one. Oh
It says
wow,
they did what?
they killed the proposed abortion exception for rape victims.
Oh, so they took it off. You said like they won't make an exception for it.
Yeah, damn.
Hmm.
Yeah, see, that's what now situations like that. That's when I flip sides and I'm against them passing that damn law. Because if you're not gonna give exceptions for these things, then bro, y'all need to be making the laws like that, man. Because anything can happen, and a woman gets pregnant and I want to keep the kid.
But see, that's the thing. I don't know. Then I guess that makes the law fair, right? Because if we don't give this exception, we can't give any. That's why I lean more to just let people do what they want to do. that's why
At,
I throw my
at this
hands up.
point, yeah.
At
At this
this,
point, yeah. Just let everybody go back to running wild.
yeah, at this point, I'm pro-choice, man. Do what you want to do, and just stay out of it, because I can understand people. I can understand both sides of the argument. This is the false positive diagnosis of brain death following. So it says a 2-year-old boy with severe head trauma was diagnosed with brain dead according to the 2011 pediatric guidelines. Computed tomographic CT scan show massive cerebral edema with herniation. Intracranial pressures were extremely high, with cerebral perfusion pressures around 0 for several hours. And Epna test was initially contraindicated. Later, one had to be terminated due to oxygen desaturation, with the PCO2 had risen to 57.9. I'm trying to get to the point where they say 2 hours later, life support was again removed. This time, reasons he did not breathe, and the death was declared. But in that case, I guess they're saying what he woke up. I'm trying to find the rest of it. I had another article for that. That got too many big words for me. It do, man. That was a false positive. Well, it doesn't say when he woke up. I thought I clipped the story. I guess I clipped the initial report. Because this is saying why he was declared brain dead. Oh, these are similar articles. Let me see. I thought I clicked the one. I don't see it. Anyway. Oh well, I thought I clicked that one. That boy, that was a false diagnosis of being brain dead on a 2-year-old. That's why they're saying he was diagnosed as that. What happened? I didn't see where it said what happened, like when he came to later on.
Okay.
I don't know how to get back where I was. I think I closed out the original tab because when I got it set up, when I click a tab, it'll open it up and not close up my search. But I must have made a mistake and closed it. I don't see it. To go back to the full story. But this one is another brain dead patient wakes up just in time. And it says 21-year-old Zach Dunlap from Oklahoma appeared on NBC Today's Show in 2008 to tell an incredible story of hearing a physician telling his parents that a PET scan confirmed that he was brain dead after catastrophic brain injury while he was being prepared for organ donation. However, he moved his arm purposely in response to stimuli. I'm telling you.
That man said he had to move his arm before this dude cut me. Oh my God.
He said, "Oh hell no." He can hear this while you know what I'm saying, while it's going on.
He was sitting. He was laying on that table like old girl from Kill Bill. Wiggle your toe, boy. Shit, move my arm. Move my arm before this dude cut me. Move it, goddamn it, move it.
Catherine said the world ending. Folks need to protect their families. It sure seems like it is. I'm telling you. Shout out T said is back. Ain't it like this is scary. You can hear me good?
Yep, I get you.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I was like, man, that's scary to think. It says earlier this year, a 13-year-old Trenton McKinley from Alabama, his parents hit the media circuit to talk about the miracle of Trenton awaking after being declared brain dead from a vehicle accident one day before his organs were scheduled to be harvested, man. The likely explanation to such recoveries from brain death, according to experts, is that these individuals were never brain dead in the first place. Errors have been made where people declared brain dead were later found to have spontaneous movement that should not have been possible, says Robert MD, professor of surgery and director of the Institute Human Values in Healthcare at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. In virtually all those cases, brain death determination was not done correctly. If you don't go through the exact protocol for brain death determination, you're likely to have patients diagnosed as being dead by neurologic criteria who are in fact not brain dead. More typical brain death errors in the 2011 case of a 55-year-old with brain injury who was treated with hypothermia to try to optimize neurologic recovery. He was declared brain dead 24 hours after he was rewarmed, which was too short a period of time during preparation for organ procurement. Oh my God, they can't keep their hands off people's organs. It was noticed that he had regained some brain stem reflexes. He certainly wasn't fine and therefore wasn't brain dead. This is insane.
Could you imagine how many people probably got misdiagnosed in some place? Like some people probably walk around the sucker saying that they got super AIDS, but really and truly they just got like some bronchitis that probably just won't disappear or something. Like, could you imagine how many people got misdiagnosis going on right now, bro? This is crazy. How you misdiagnose brain activity?
Man, look, these folk are crazy. Even here, I'm not gonna read all of this and stuff right there. I know we've been doing this for a minute, but even you got here Cambridge. They write an article addressing the problem of brain death misdiagnosis. This is an issue, and so this was a part of my argument and my overall opinion about this case is that I wouldn't unplug anybody. I don't trust these people. I wouldn't unplug them.
Yeah, clearly not. Especially after waking up. Making yourself move your arm so somebody could see it. Like, God, don't cut me.
I'm
how
traumatizing
you, that would be.
You about to get cut. You roll over. You like, hold on. I need that.
Bro, that's like you about to get X'd out by cartel members and you suddenly awaken some telepathic ability to get them to let you go. Like you just know you about to die.
Think about how many people who couldn't move but could hear and know you taking it. That's crazy. Shout out to Crystal says severe neck and back injuries that are requiring surgery because my spinal cord is pinched in the neck. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Look, my best friend got pinched, and I mean he's in pain, man, and it's a long journey to recovery, man. Back injuries, spinal, that stuff ain't no joke. Yeah, I hope you pull through that. It's painful.
It ain't no joke, bro. I've been living with metal rods in my back for damn near 20 years, bro. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm actually legally handicapped, but I choose to get up and work because I can't live off them little tiny checks.
Yeah, but you can share them stickers you got, man. So I can
Well, that'd be something serious. Boy, sharing, giving handicap stickers out there, everybody I know, that'd be some messed
yeah.
up.
You can charge for it. That's your money right there. Hey, we charge a subscription. Hey, bro, you ain't seeing your 200 in. We're gonna have to get that sticker back. Yeah.
About to call in and cancel that one, bro.
Yo, T said Super A's is crazy.
Say, bro, I wasn't even trying to be funny with that, bro. But like for real, I mean, talking on the subject of misdiagnosis, like man, you probably got some bad hemorrhoids or something like that. Misdiagnosed. Turns out you just needed some Pepto Bismol. Bro, waking up on somebody's operating table before they take your guts out is wild, bro.
I'm telling you, hey, this is insane, man. Let's see. Share this tab. There you go. Right here it says 795,000 Americans a year die or are permanently disabled after being misdiagnosed.
Wait, how many?
795,000. That's a lot of
Jesus
people.
Christ.
I know they'll say, according to all the people that are in the United States, that's a small percentage. Damn it, that's
But that's
still
a
a lot of
small
people.
Yeah, that's a small percentage that still equates into a massive number, bruh.
Yeah.
That is insane.
Yeah. A year? That's a lot. And with the issue of everybody not having access to health care the way it should be, we don't even know these people getting the proper care even after that.
Man, I'm gonna just start telling people, bro, just stick to Google MD, bro. Just go down, look up your symptoms, man, and diagnose yourself, bro. Because clearly a lot of doctors don't know what the hell they talk about. Clearly.
Yeah. Because two people have to have health care to get, that's why people complain about these high doctor bills and stuff that comes after that. Because see, top medical researchers are sounding the alarm that an estimated 795,000 American patients continue to die or become permanently disabled each year because they are being diagnosed with the wrong conditions. For years, the public hasn't known much about the full scope of medical misdiagnosis that happened in the U.S., according to a new report released by the Johns Hopkins Armstrong Institute Center for Diagnostic Excellence. That's weird. Because I believe John Hopkins are the same people yeah. Let's see. They're the same ones that did the HeLa cells. Where is it at? Let me try to pull this up. Yeah. An apology is long overdue. You see that?
Yep, I see it.
T said he gonna start adding super to his illness or injury now. T said, "Add spice." My leg is super broke. You said super diarrhea.
I got a super toothache. Got a super got a super cavity.
Yo, that's crazy. And so here it says, an apology is long overdue. Hopkins must do more for the Lax family. So you had Henrietta Lacks. So it says last week, the family of Henrietta Lacks filed a lawsuit against biotech company, the Thermo Fisher Scientific. 20 years ago, Lacks sought treatment for cervical cancer at Hopkins Hospital. That's why that name stuck out to me. They've been sued for a lot of things. That's what I was saying. It ain't just the law, it's these hospitals, right? Where doctors harvested her cells without her knowledge. Following her death, her immortal cells, known as the HeLa cell line, would revolutionize modern medicine. Yet the Lax family was kept in the dark about the mass production and commercialization of her cells for over 2 decades. To this day, her family has not received monetary compensation. For those of you who got the COVID vaccination, you know how that was developed using HeLa cells. But that ain't all.
Man, they
That
cloned her
ain't all.
behind.
That ain't all. See, what happened was other cells that they had kept dying off. Her cells were the only cells that were replicating themselves. All right. And that's why when I heard John Hopkins, because they have never paid that family any money, the way they get around it is they go, "Oh no, we didn't make any money off of her cells. We donated her cells."
Oh wow.
Who
That
believe that?
loophole.
Yeah,
I don't
who
know if I
believe
believe
that?
that. I don't know if I believe that.
So this is the importance of HeLa cells. Among the important scientific discoveries of the last century was the first immortal human cell line known as HeLa, a remarkable, durable, and prolific line of cells obtained during the treatment of Henrietta's cancer by John Hopkins researcher Dr. George Gay, I'm gonna say Gay, in 1951.
Yeah, it's always gay. If you got a question, it is gay.
Okay. Although those were the first cells that could be easily shared and multiplied in the lab setting, John Hopkins has never sold or profited from the discovery or distribution of HeLa cells and does not own the rights to HeLa cell line. Rather, John Hopkins offered HeLa cells freely and widely for scientific research, as if they did not get any donations because of this. And we all know that medicine is not free. So somebody made money off of it, right? That's crazy. Over the past several decades, this cell line has contributed to many medical breakthroughs, from research on the effects of zero gravity in outer space and the development of polio and COVID-19 vaccines to the study of leukemia, and the AIDS virus and cancer worldwide. Although many other cell lines are in use today, HeLa cells have supported advances in most fields of medical research in the years since HeLa cells were isolated. Ah, sick world we live in. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I'm back. I was listening to everything though, but yeah, they cloned her. They had to have cloned her.
Yeah,
20
man.
years, 20 years and nothing. That girl got a twin. She don't even. That girl probably got like 3, 4 twins. She don't even know about.
Yeah, they said they issued an apology. They won't issue a check though. That's what's so this is all insane. I could go on forever with this. Um I appreciate everybody coming through. Thank you for all the support, all the comments. Of course, my fellow host, the Prince of Petty himself, my boy T came through. Shout out to Marcus. Let me see. I gotta do this too. There we go. Shout out to my boy T. Shout out to Catherine. I appreciate you in the super chat. Thank you so much, Catherine, for that. Shout out to Crystal. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you for your support today and joining in the conversation. I enjoyed talking to all of you very, very much. Shout out to Sharon. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you for all your support. Who else came through today? Jenny, appreciate you, Jenny. Thank you for coming through, as well as Abra. Imuna, thank you for coming through as well. And I hope I pronounced the last name correctly. Forgive me if I did not. I appreciate you all. Thumbs up the video, subscribe, hit that notification, share it, tell with a friend, tell with a friend. Even if you don't share the video, it's something to talk about if you're sitting around with your family. And you know how you get around family, you like to gossip and talk about what you heard. Bring this up, talk about it, see what they feel about it.
Bring this up because apparently people in the government assume these types of conversations are happening on a regular basis. I don't know why, but apparently it's conversations that you need to have and be very specific about it. If you get to be in the coma or if you get to be brain dead, and if you are pregnant as well, do I save the child or do I let you go? You got to be very specific with it.
Yeah, you do. Cause we have had that thing like, hey, would you want to be on life support? You be like, bro, no. If it's like years, no. You can keep me on there to see if I'm gonna wake up. If I don't, then pull the plug, right? But I don't think nobody added the if you are pregnant. I don't think anybody's having that or even thought about that.
Yeah, I don't think that crossed anybody's mind. Definitely didn't cross mine.
Yeah. That's what people need to do. We got to do that on Clubhouse. Like, that's a good hypothetical. Usually they do if your wife and your kids are in the boat and the boat is going down, you can only save one. Nah, this is a good hypothetical.
Yeah, this is good.
Because it's
Especially when people doing live interviews about it and bringing it up like, oh well, we don't have documentation saying that they wanted to become an incubator. Like, wait, what? Who having these conversations?
Yeah, they ain't had them. So yeah. So anywho, this is Risky Behavior. ENT. I'm your host, Mr. Diabolical himself, also known as Beware the Messenger. And you supposed to jump in, Prince.
Oh my bad. Hi, I'm the Prince of Petty. All day. I miss my cues all the time, apparently.
And man, it was great talking to y'all about the in the live stream so I can give me something to eat. I'll probably be back. Also, look out for during the week. I got pre-recording. I'm gonna be streaming some of the recordings from Clubhouse conversations that we have. T, who's in the chat under sound, he's a part of those conversations as well. Some of the older conversations, I think Prince got a chance to get in on some of those, but they're just our conversations from Clubhouse that I put on pre-recording to be streamed throughout the week, and I think there'll be around between some coming on at 9, some at 10 o'clock, some at 11 o'clock. It just depends on when the YouTube algorithm says that people are online and available to listen to them. So, yeah.
I'll be there.
All right. All right, we out of here.
Peace.
Risky behavior.